Stand up, New York Giant fans. What's going on, everybody? We've got a lot to talk about today for a midday show. A lot of news coming out in the broad NFL. We'll talk about that for a bit. Got some Giants news as well. Danny Shelton in the building, trying out for the New York Giants. From what I heard, Joe Judge will be at the Pro Day for Miami, looking at Nate's favorite prospect, Greg Rousseau. A lot of Giants fans are up in the air with him, but checking out him, checking out Phillips as well. Two high-end edge rushers for the Miami Hurricanes, so we'll see if any news comes out with that. Also, I wanted to touch on some of the things that John Mara had to say, not just about Daniel Jones, but about the team in general when pressed about it in an interview. We'll also talk about some of the things that ESPN had to say based off of what John Mara had to say. Things heating up in the New York sports world. We just want to give a quick shout-out, by the way, to Shane Falco, my favorite TV quarterback of all time, for becoming a new member of the channel. Stand up, Shane Falco. Thank you very much. Ian McDonald, man, thanks very much. Hey, Chris, how are you? I'm doing good, man. Hope everybody else is doing well. Got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, also in the New York sports world, Knicks got a big game tonight. They're going for their fourth straight, trying to get to 3 games over 500. You got baseball around the corner. I'm a Mets fan, opening day on Thursday, but we're going to focus mainly on, obviously, the news at hand going around in the NFL. I first wanted to start with John Mara, and I just want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you to everybody for being here. Vizzy, Colin, Giants fan, Akeem, thank you to everybody for being here. Digging the chat. Amazing guy. Thank you to everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. I want to start with what John Mara had to say. I'm not going to pull up the quotes, but I'm going to read them here. He talked about the state of the team right now. He talked about, his expectations going into this year. And then when he was asked about Daniel Jones, he gave, some pretty good quotes. The one thing I'll say before I jump into these quotes that you have to remember, John Mara said the same things last year. Literally the same exact things. The other thing that he went on to say in these quotes was that what they did in free agency set the New York Giants up to do, take the best available player in the draft. Well, if you remember correctly last year, Dave Gettleman said the same exact thing. And then Giants fans went crazy and everybody said, oh, he's going to get the splashy player. Oh, he's going to go out. He's going to get Isaiah Simmons because he said he's going to take the best available player. Oh, maybe he'll take Jerry Jeudy, this, that, the other thing. I don't believe a word that they say. Best available player to them may be the best available player at a need. You know what I'm saying? They may not view the wide receiver position as an immediate need, but we'll see on draft night. I'm going to pull up some of the things that he had to say. Dependable line, man. Thank you very much. You think we win our division if DJ can make a huge year 3 step? I think we have playoff potential. I think we definitely could win the division. Absolutely. I'm not going to go into the year saying what it's going to absolutely happen, but I think we definitely could win the division. I think we're definitely a playoff contender. No doubt about it, my man. First thing I'm going to talk about when he was asked about the state of the franchise from the New York Post, we'll start with Daniel Jones. When asked about whether or not he feels like he's a special quarterback going into year 3, he said, yes, he does have what it takes. Marisol told the New York Post, I could say that without any hesitation. And the first thing I'll say based off that quote, what do you expect John Mara to say? This is a guy that was on board with selecting Daniel Jones 6th overall. He was his franchise quarterback, right? He's not going to come out and kill the guy's confidence. And I'm not saying he's wrong. I think he could be right. We'll see as we continue to develop this team. But what do you expect John Mara to say? And I saw ESPN giving him hell for that. Like, what do you expect John Mara to say? Of course he believes in his quarterback. He invested the 6th overall pick in this guy. Then later on, he goes on to say, when asked about a Super Bowl, he said, I don't see why not, Mara said, if we put the right pieces around him. And then he kind of compared it to Eli Manning. The one thing I'll say, and I think ESPN brought this up as well, Eli Manning had a much better supporting cast. I think we need to continue to realize that as Giants fans. This defense, though, is definitely getting better. The offensive line was much more advanced by the time Eli Manning had won that Super Bowl. We had the best running attack in football. We need to see this offensive line progress this year. And when he was asked that question, I think the way some people interpreted that, or may have interpreted that, was that he's saying Daniel Jones could win a Super Bowl this year. No, he's not saying that. He's saying with growth and this team growing around him, Daniel Jones could potentially win a Super Bowl in the future. And I don't see anything wrong with that. He didn't come out and say he's Pat Mahomes. He was asked, do you think he can win a championship? Well, if you build the right team around him, sure, why not? Why couldn't he? If you built the right team around him and we had a really good defense, we had a really strong offensive line, and he matured as a quarterback, I see nothing wrong with that statement either. I think some people may take that out of context. They'll say, oh, he's saying he could be Pat Mahomes. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. Entertainah Source Guy, man, thank you very much. My man, Tana, love the midday streams, my guy. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Then he later went on to say about the coaching staff, talking about Daniel Jones, and I appreciate it, Source God, for being here. Every single one of our coaches loves the kid and believes he has the talent to win a championship. He really wants to be great. You can see that. Mara said, I believe the sky's the limit with him. And I mean, I hope the sky's the limit. The one thing I'll say about Daniel Jones that we saw last year, work ethic is not the problem. Work ethic is not the problem. That's kind of what he's talking about there. The guy puts in the work. I think the coaching staff appreciates that. Guy's going to go out there. He's going to work his butt off every day to become as good of a quarterback as he possibly can. And that's something that you can't teach. I do think Daniel Jones wants to be great. The question is, can he be great? And that's what this offseason was about. It was about improving the talent around him. But yes, the offensive line is still a mega problem. And we're going to talk about that throughout the stream. It's something that the New York Giants absolutely need to address. And that's basically it when it comes to Daniel Jones. The other thing I wanted to touch on was him talking about the impatience that he has, that the fan base is kind of talking about with this football team. And one thing I've expressed from the New York Giants, really since I've been on YouTube, is patience. And I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that, but we're going through a rebuild. And when you're going through a rebuild, you have to have some form of patience. The mistake that the Giants made, we all know, 2018, they didn't start the rebuild. It was a mistake. It was a big mistake. They started in 2019. We're now entering year 3. The one thing I'll say about what Mara said, again, I don't really disagree with anything he said. Could he have chosen his words better? Sure. But he didn't say it was playoffs or bust. He said he needs to see improvement. But let's jump into some of the quotes. It's not it's not all that different from the dark ages. And when he's talking about the dark ages there, he's talking about the Giants in the 70s, the 60s, when they were a really bad football team before they started to get good, in around 82, 83, or when they started to become a good football team. It's not all of that different from the dark ages, to be honest with you. Maris told the New York Post, I've said things in the past like I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. Yet here we are. 4 losing seasons in a row, and we haven't won a playoff game since our last Super Bowl, obviously in 2012. Yeah, that is a fear of mine. Maybe that's another reason we committed so much money this offseason. We need to turn this team around. And yeah, and then he kind of later talked about free agency. And he's right. We need to accelerate the process. The one thing that I've come out and said why I thought it was the right decision to be aggressive this offseason. I didn't think they'd necessarily be able to do it because of the condensed budget. But, you go back a year on my channel, I thought they needed to try to accelerate the process this offseason because of Daniel Jones on the rookie contract. Yes, you could only rebuild for so long. Eventually, you got to put your foot in the ring. And you got to try to accelerate the process. You got to try to win a Super Bowl on a rookie contract. And I think that's kind of what he's saying here. He said, I'd be very disappointed if things don't turn around quickly. I'm starting to get impatient. It's been a while. I'm tired of explaining to fans at the end of every season, things are getting better. We're on the right track. You lose credibility with them. I'm not saying we have to make the playoffs this year. I never want to be in that business. And that's where I'm fine with everything he's saying. We need to see progress. We need to see acceleration. And we all want to see the playoffs. And I'm going to go into the year expecting that we're going to be at least a playoff contending team. But we need to see growth at a bare minimum. I don't think we're a finished product by any stretch of the imagination. We need to add more pieces. But looking at the players we have added, there's a reason to think we'll be in the playoffs sooner than later. And I agree with him. The New York Giants were aggressive this offseason. They added a good second corner in Adoree Jackson. They added Kenny Golladay, a number 1 wide receiver. You have to figure these younger players progress in their roles and they mature and improve. So I agree with a lot of things that he had to say. And that's basically it. And then he kind of went on to Merritt doesn't generally believe in repeated free agency spending sprees. Yeah, he later went on to say that so far it's been very positive in terms of the fan reaction to free agency. But the reaction was back in 2016 when we spent a ton of money on a number of free agents. It worked well for 1 year, not so well the year after that. I think I'm more comfortable this time around with the individuals we are bringing in. I don't like the notion of being the kings of March. If you're always spending that kind of money in free agency, it usually means you're not drafting very well. The last couple of drafts, we've been pretty solid. And hopefully we'll have another one. And yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind for me after this spending spree in free agency. Don't expect the New York Giants to go out there and do it next year. The best teams don't go hog wild in free agency, a term he's used in the past. You have to draft. You have to draft well, and you have to leave money available to be able to retain some of your free agents. Some of the things that I liked about what they did, they're short-term contracts for the most part. They left themselves some leeway to be able to get out of these contracts, but make no mistake about it. The Giants spent a lot this offseason because they're trying to accelerate the process. And now that leaves us going into the draft with some needs. And now the question is, how are the New York Giants going to fill these needs? Are they going to go best available player? And that's later what he went on to say in terms of that. He said, I think adding Golladay and Jackson puts us in a position where we don't have to draft a receiver or cornerback at number 11. I think we're in a position to take the best player. It doesn't matter what position that is. And like I said, take that lightly, because we heard the same things last year in terms of best player. And most fans, when they hear that, are just going to jump to the skill position players because that's what they want to hear. I saw it last year with Isaiah Simmons. And in my head, I'm like, no, they're going tackle. We need a tackle. And I think, and Aidan, man, thank you very much, man. Loving the midday stream. Stand up. Aidan's the man, dude. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. But I honestly think they're not, I could be wrong, and I'm not sure of what they're going to do. I'm going to be the first to say, last year, I was like 95% we were going tackle. We were picking 4th overall. It was beyond obvious we had to take a tackle. This year, I don't know what we're going to do. I have my hunches as to what I think we may or may not do, but it's far from a foregone conclusion. I still think if a guy like Rashawn Slater is there, I think that's where we're going to lean, because I think at that spot at 11, need meets value. I think Slater is right around that 10 to 15 range, and I'm going to continue to say that leading up into the draft. Now, if Slater is not there, that may change some things. If Micah Parsons is there, I could definitely see the New York Giants taking him as well. But what I want to say is, just because you hear it freed us up to take the best available player, well, what else did he also say in that sentence? By taking Kenny Golladay, by taking Adoree Jackson, it set us up to take the best available player. So to me, that reads, by us signing a wide receiver, by us signing a cornerback, those are no longer needs on this football team. But that doesn't mean that that a wide receiver may not be the best available player. I'm not saying they can't take a wide receiver. But what that tells me is, in my personal opinion, we still have other needs on this team. And he's saying by signing Golladay, by signing Adoree Jackson, we don't view those as immediate needs anymore. We don't view wide receiver and cornerback as an immediate need anymore. Now, if we're impressed with the player and he's the best available player, maybe we'll be open to it. But I personally think there's more immediate needs on this football team at this point in time. Josh, man, thank you very much, man. I love Washington fans flexing a division title when they know they wouldn't have won if the Eagles didn't sit Jalen Hurts, also Micah Parsons. Yeah, hey, man, at the end of the day, they wouldn't have won if Evan Ingram held on to a football. They wouldn't have won if several things. I mean, there's several instances last year that the New York Giants would have won this division if things went their way. It is what it is. We're going to have to sweep them again this year, break out the brooms. No, all kidding aside, I think Washington has a good football team. I think they had a good offseason, and I think they're going to be a true contender in the East. But I think the Giants will as well. I think they're going to be the two best teams in the division. If I had to guess, I think the Cowboys will be in the race as well. But I think the Giants and Washington probably have more well-rounded teams if this offense improves. We're also going to touch on Danny Shelton in a bit. We're going to get to that. I also want to jump into some of the draft rumors that came out today. There were rumors about Mac Jones. The 49ers potentially traded up to get Mac Jones. We'll talk more about that throughout the stream. In addition to that, word came out about the Philadelphia Eagles. Potentially, the reason they traded down is because they believe that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to take Jamar Chase. Now, of course, Jamar Chase has ties to Joe Burrow, and we're going to talk about how that could potentially affect the draft for the New York Giants. We'll talk about those rumors, and we'll get into Danny Shelton, but I'll talk to the chat for a little bit before we get back to some of the other things that I wanted to touch on. But once again, thank you to everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. Bigger Mike, big Eagles fan, great supporter of the channel. He says, Darius Slay making Golladay his bitch. Mike. Darius Slay, if I remember correctly, last year was not as good as advertised for your Philadelphia Eagles, my man. From what I remember, Mike, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but from what I remember, he was not as good as initially advertised for your Philadelphia Eagles this year. But we'll see. I'm not too worried about your football team. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Mike. I'm not too. What's going on, Scott? Man, thanks for popping the stream. I'm not too worried about your football team. Aidan, man, thank you very much. Bigger Mike just mad that Cardi B sucks. What's up, Aidan, man? Thanks for popping in. Little Discord talking there, man. Slay was barely average. Yeah, he was disappointing for the Eagles last year. He definitely was not worth the trade, in my opinion, based on everything that you had to hear. Chris Hoffman says, I could see us trading up late first and early second for a guard by packaging. Let me see if I lost that real quick. By packaging our I lost it. But Giant Zone says, hey, Tana, he'd be a second-round pick, but have you heard of Landon Dickerson from Alabama? The kid is a beast. Yes. I've heard that the New York Giants have expressed interest in him. Obviously, he has ties to Joe Judge, Alabama, Nick Saban, And we needed potentially a center. He could play the center spot. You can move Gates to the guard. We need an interior offensive lineman. And if we don't draft a lineman in the first round, I think we will absolutely draft one in the second round. That's another thing I hear from a lot of people that aren't a fan of taking Slater. And I get it. You want your wide receiver. You feel like that's the better available player there. You want Micah Parsons if he's there. Slater's a tackle. Slater's a tackle that could play guard. And he may very well start a tackle if we draft him, and it doesn't hurt to add more talent at that spot. And if they feel like Barrett's ready, you start Barrett, you start Slater at the guard, but you don't know how Barrett's going to be long-term. Everybody seems to think that Barrett is a foregone conclusion, that this guy's absolutely going to be the next guard for the next 10 years. And I hope he is. There's no guarantee there. Did you watch the Arizona Cardinals game? So just because you draft Rashawn Slater to potentially play guard to start the year, which we don't know would be the case, doesn't mean he won't eventually be your starting tackle. JR, man, thank you very much. Just saying, what's up? Eagles suck. What's going on, JR Payne, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. What's going on there? Giannis, man, thanks for popping in. What's going on there, X-Man? No, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion at all, Nate. He says y'all are overestimating the chances of Slater being there. If we get Slater, it's a blessing, not a certainty. I agree. It's definitely not a foregone conclusion. What I will say is I think the odds have gone up based on some of these trades that have gone down in the first round and some of the rumors you're starting to hear. Far from a foregone conclusion. Rashawn Slater is not a lock to be there, just like Micah Parsons is not a lock to be there. In the end, I think one will be. I really do. Because when I look at the top of this draft board, and we're going to jump into some of the rumors as well, I think 3 quarterbacks in the first 3 picks, potentially 4 if a team trades with the Falcons. Maybe the Falcons take a quarterback, maybe they don't. But I definitely think at least 4 quarterbacks go in the first 10 picks, potentially 5 if the rumors are true about the San Francisco 49ers and Mac Jones. And let's just play the game and say that 5 quarterbacks are off the board. Let's say Penei Sewell goes. That's now 6 players. Let's say Jamar Chase goes. That's now 7 players. Let's say Kyle Pitts goes. That's now 8 players. Starting to open up the possibility for Rashawn Slater or Micah Parsons to be a New York Giant. Patrick Surtain makes sense to the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, but I definitely think it's a much stronger possibility than it initially was. And Sergio, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm back. It's time for, oh, God, Sergio. Oh, God, what are we going to do with you, man? Bigger Mike, man, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. He says, Darius Slay was good last year. In the first 10 games, he allowed, I believe, 2 50-yard games and finished out the year decent. That 3-game stretch is all people remember. I remember he started off good for you guys, Mike, just like what's his name did. That wide receiver, Travis Fulgham. He started out pretty good too. No, all kidding aside, I think he's a solid corner, but I think the Eagles are in big trouble this year. But the one thing I'll say about the Eagles, Mike, a lot of Eagles fans went crazy when the Eagles traded down out of the 5th pick, the 6th pick rather. A lot of Eagles fans went crazy. Why are you doing that? I honestly believe, as a Giants fan, I think it was the right decision by you guys. I really do. I think the Eagles are rebuilding, and I think they should be rebuilding. And I'm actually upset as a Giant fan, to be honest with you, that you did trade down. It's obviously not going to help your team this year, but you get future draft capital. I think it was the right move by the Eagles. They recognize where they are in the process, and I think they're trying to rebuild. Stephen Lilly, man, thank you very much, man. So where does Penei Sewell go now? Okay, as far as Penei Sewell goes, let's talk about the rumors. Let's start there, and how it may potentially affect Penei Sewell. So some of the rumors that have come out today, Stephen, is that the 49ers may have traded up to draft Mac Jones at number 3 overall. And the one thing that I think legitimizes it at least a little bit as a possibility, today Mac Jones and Justin Fields have their pro day on the same day. Now, they did split it up. There is somebody from the 49ers, a representative from the 49ers is at Justin Fields' pro day. But on the same day, the head coach, Shanahan, and the general manager for the San Francisco 49ers reportedly are at Mac Jones's pro day. Other things that I've heard is that they feel that he has some kind of connection to Shanahan and that they feel like he may fit the scheme. So I do think there's some legitimacy behind these rumors, and it is at least a possibility. I'm not saying it's a probability. I'm not saying I expect it to happen. But if that was to happen and the 49ers take Mac Jones, well, then the Falcons could absolutely take Penei Sewell. The Falcons could absolutely trade down. The Falcons could take Kyle Pitts. I've heard that. The Falcons could take a quarterback. So we don't know. We're not going to know until such time after the Falcons draft where Penei Sewell could potentially end up. But the other rumor that I heard that I thought was really interesting in terms of how it could affect the New York Giants, The number 5 pick, the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that we've all had pegged to potentially be taking a tackle. The reason, or at least part of the reason, why the Eagles traded out, according to an article by Bleacher Report, was that they felt Jamar Chase might be going number 5. And obviously, Joe Burrow's been very outspoken into bringing him to the Cincinnati Bengals. They played together at LSU. So if that were the case, the other thing I also read is that the Dolphins traded up to get a weapon. So let's just say the Falcons did not, say they took Kyle Pitts. Let's say they did not take Penei Sewell. And let's say those rumors are legitimate, which I think it could be. It's very possible Jamar Chase could be going to the Cincinnati Bengals. So if that were to happen, and the Dolphins then say take Devontae Smith, they've been linked to Devontae Smith. They want to get a weapon to help out their quarterback in Tua. That now brings you to pick number 7. The Lions, I think, are going to take a weapon, or potentially Micah Parsons. All of a sudden, he starts to slip. The one thing I'll say about Penei Sewell, if all that were to take place, which I don't think it will, in the end, I think Penei Sewell could go to the Falcons. I think he may go to the Bengals. But let's just say it does. I don't think, even though we all know that Dallas has a huge need at the cornerback position, I don't think Dallas lets Penei Sewell get to us at 11. Because Dallas could definitely try to rebuff that offensive line. So that's my take on that. Unless the Giants are trading up, if, say, he gets to 8 or something like that and they want to make a move, I don't see Penei Sewell getting to the New York Giants. I think Dallas would take him if he ever fell that far. And then that opens up the possibility if the New York Giants really like Patrick Surtain, even though I don't think they would do it, could they potentially take him? But I don't think Penei Sewell will get to the New York Giants under any circumstance, if I had to guess. But if some of these rumors are true, he could fall a bit. And we'll see, unless Dallas preferred Rashawn Slater. So you never know. You know, draft night is crazy, but we'll see. Adam, man, thank you very much. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of scared to draft Parsons at 11. Don't want another DeAndre Baker. Hey, man, I certainly understand the concern from Giants fans about that. We obviously got bit in the butt last time around when we took DeAndre Baker. There were character concerns coming in. We obviously couldn't have predicted that DeAndre Baker was going to do what he did. There was no way in a million years we could have predicted that. Well, not that he did it. He was proven innocent, but that he was going to be accused of what he did. There was no way you could have predicted that. Now, there were some red flags in terms of, you know, I don't remember exactly what it was, but there were red flags with him coming in, and the New York Giants chose to ignore it. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and maybe the New York Giants will, you know, side on the side of caution, err on the side of caution, because of things like that, because they're all about, you know, culture and everything else. But one thing I will say, I do think the New York Giants are going to do their homework. You saw that Joe Judge was at his pro day. You saw that Patrick Graham was at his pro day. They have his former D-line coach, didn't coach him, but, well, I think he played a little bit on the D-line at Penn State, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, they have a coach that has a relationship on our staff with Sean Spencer. So I think the Giants have some intel there. I do think they'll do their due diligence. I don't know if they'll draft them or not, but if they do draft them, I'll feel confident that the New York Giants are not worried about his background. That's what I'll say. But I definitely think they could pass up on him due to some of the things that have come out in the past. Nate, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. If you ask me, I want to see Slater at 11. I saw a tape where he dominated Chase Young, so this would help us facing him 2 times a year. Parrott could go to play guard too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about Parrott and whether or not they would entertain doing something like that. Obviously, he's been a tackle his whole life, and he's, you know, kind of built like a tackle, but maybe. Yeah, they could do that. Maybe they feel like Slater's better at the tackle, Parrott could be better at the guard. I don't know. But it gives you options. Let's put it that way. And it adds more depth and more youth to this offensive line. But Slater to me is a tackle that could play guard. Now, if we were to move to guard and they played him there, I would expect him to play at a near all-pro level. You know what I'm saying? So if you get an all-pro guard, you never scoff at that. It's definitely a need of this team, and I definitely think he's one of the favorites that we could potentially draft. The four areas where I could see the New York Giants drafting. I could see Rashawn Slater, Elijah Vera-Tucker. I could see an offensive lineman. I don't think Penei Sewell's getting there, but I can see one of those two. I can see Micah Parsons if the background checks out and if he's ever to fall to us. I could see a wide receiver. If they feel Devontae Smith is the best available player or Jalen Waddle and they're there, I could see it. Or I could see a defensive end, an edge rusher. I could see, you know, Greg Rousseau, Phillips, Olajari. I know he's getting some press now. I could see that. I think that's probably the least likely of the 4, but I could definitely see it. I honestly don't know what they're going to end up doing. I have what I think is more realistic than others, but I don't know what they're going to do. And Fortune Man, stand up, new member. Welcome to the channel, my man. I appreciate that, my man. Thank you very much, man. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody else. But thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it, Fortune. And Anthony says, Slater and Parsons are both there at 11. Who do you think we take? I mean, at that point, it comes to, if I had to guess, I would say Slater, personally. But that's just a guess. I have no inside information based on the fact that the offense definitely needs more help. This offseason, everything that was talked about was how much we have to help Daniel Jones out as best as possible. And we got him weapons, and maybe they'll feel like another weapon will help him out even more. But when you look at this offensive line, you look at the fact that we lost Kevin Zeitler, and you look at the fact that Rashawn Slater is completely warranted to be taken at number 11. I don't view it as a reach. I think that's around where he should go. As a matter of fact, some people may even argue he should go earlier than that. And the fact that you have the background things with Parsons. If I had to guess, I would lean that they may go Slater, but I wouldn't be shocked either way. I think those are the two guys we're looking at. But the thing I'm going to say about that, Anthony, is I expect one to be there. I don't expect both. I would be very surprised if both Parsons and Slater were there when we picked that 11. But is it possible? Sure. There's crazy things that happen in the draft. And fortunately, thank you very much. Hey, and a new member here. What do you think about Sam Beal's role going into next year? You know, Sam Beal's such a tricky guy, man, because we all loved what we heard about him when we first brought him in. We gave up the supplemental pick, third-round pick to acquire him. We were all hoping that he worked out. The guy's had injury problems his entire career. He sat out due to the virus this year, so you don't even know how good a football shape the guy's in. And we signed Adoree Jackson. I mean, we paid Adoree Jackson $39 million, $26.5 million guaranteed. Of course, you got James Bradbury on the other side. I don't see a role for Sam Beal. I mean, even if he impresses in camp, maybe he makes the team, but I don't see a role for Sam Beal. At most, he's a depth exterior corner. I don't, he may make the team. I don't even know if that's a foregone conclusion. We have a lot of good players in the secondary that we've brought in here. Julian Love's another one. I think he probably will, but it's far from a foregone conclusion, and I definitely don't view him as a starter at all at this point in time. Even a guy like Isaac Yiadom, I would probably put above him on the depth chart. Stephen Lilly, man, thank you very much. So let's say rumors are real. Who you take? Penei Sewell, Slater, Parsons. If you have, Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell. I don't even think twice. Penei Sewell, and by the way, I said it on Twitter today. The most overused term when it comes to the NFL draft is generational. I hear it all the time, whether it's people on Twitter, whether it's draft analysts. Oh, this guy's the next generational linebacker. This guy's the next generational corner. This guy's the next generational quarterback. The term generational insinuates that once in a generation, okay, a generation could span 10, 15 years. How could everybody how could you have 5 generational players every draft? So I think it is the most overrated term in the NFL when it comes to the draft. But out of those 3 players, the only one, in my opinion, that is potentially generational that you just listed, Slater, Parsons, and of course, Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell to me is the only one that's potentially generational. We've heard about this guy for 2 or 3 years. The guy has an immense ceiling from what everybody says. So I don't even think you think twice at that point. Penei Sewell's one of the top 3 or 4 prospects probably in this draft when you factor in upside and everything else. So I don't even blink there. I take Penei Sewell at 11 if he's there. But again, I don't expect it to happen. Entertainah the Source Guard, man. Thank you very much. Says, hell no to Rousseau. That rhymes. That's pretty good. Maybe I'll use that in one of my Knicks games tonight. What's up, Entertainah the Source Guard? All right. Listen, if they take Greg Rousseau, I'm not going to flip out. I came out, I said the other day that I feel like edge rusher is probably our second biggest need at this point in time. I'm not going to flip out if we take Greg Rousseau, but is it who I want? No, it's not who I want. And in this defense, I've said countless times that I would not prioritize the edge rusher above things like the secondary and things like that. I think it's a scheme built on coverage and blitzing and having strong interior defensive line play, which we're going to get to Shelton right now. Danny Shelton, speaking of interior defensive line play, obviously the New York Giants this past year lost Dalvin Tomlinson. And a lot of Giants fans said the world was over. They said that, nothing, can't work. Why would you ever let go of Dalvin Tomlinson? I love Dalvin Tomlinson. But it's something I knew they were going to do for over a year because I think it's a very replaceable position, whether it be in the 3rd or 4th round of this year's draft, whether it be somebody that's already currently on the roster getting a bigger role and filling in that void, or whether it means going out there and bringing in somebody for much cheaper, being that the market was going to be very decreased. Well, rumor came out today. Well, not a rumor, it's a fact. Danny Shelton is in the New York Giants facilities today, visiting with the New York Giants. Danny Shelton is a nose tackle. He's strictly a nose tackle. He is strictly for guarding the run. He has ties to Joe Judge. Joe Judge coached in New England in 2019 when Shelton played there in 2019. Former first-round pick, 12th overall to the Cleveland Browns. Had a bad PFF grade last year, if you go by that. His lowest grade of his entire career, 51.1. But he was between 70 and 82 every year before that, known as a good interior defensive lineman. I'm just going to read a couple of notes that I wrote down. He started 72 of 87 games in his career, 12 out of 12 with Detroit last year. He's accumulated 247 tackles, 16 for loss. He's appeared in a Super Bowl for the Patriots in 2020. Shelton, like I said, the 51 grade. He's 6'2", 345. Shelton is strictly a nose tackle and would essentially fill the role for Dalvin Tomlinson's departure should the Giants choose to sign him. So those are some of the notes I think I got off Giants Wire. So that's the role that he would bring in. He would bring some, I don't know, do you guys hear that texting noise? If you're getting, I don't know if you hear that, but I think I'm hearing it in the background. But I think it would bring more versatility to this line. I think it would bring more depth. And I think he's definitely a guy that you could bring in 3-4 packages to be that run stuffer. And they probably leave Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams on the outside. And you could still, substitute. The Giants, they're going to substitute in that line. The more depth, the better. But I think it'd be a really good pickup. And I don't think it would cost that much. If you look at his contract last year, Shelton I think he was only like $2 million with the Detroit Lions last year. Maybe it was a little bit more, but it wasn't a whole lot. I don't think it would cost that much. And I think he's a solid nose tackle. He's good for one thing, and that's stuffing the run. And that's what we would use him for. So I think it would be a solid pickup for the Giants if we're able to get him here on a cheap deal. Former first-round pick, obviously a guy with talent, and a guy that has ties to Joe Judge. So I think it would be a good pickup. We'll see if the Giants ultimately end up getting him. Stephen Willie, man, thank you very much. So if the 49ers take Mac, do the Falcons trade it for? And if so, with who? Good question. I actually was going to do a trade in my latest mock draft. And I decided not to because everybody on Twitter said, I don't prefer a trade. Don't do a trade. I was going to have the Broncos trading up to 4 from 9. But there's a number of teams that could trade up, not just them. The Panthers could trade up if they feel like they want to make sure they get their quarterback. The Broncos, like I said, could trade up if they no longer believe in Drew Lock. So those are two obvious destinations there, 8 and 9. In terms of later teams after that, maybe New England. Maybe New England would make a jump if they really like, say, Trey Lance was still on the board, or Justin Fields, whoever, if they really like one of those prospects. So I can see one of those teams picking at 8, 9, and 15. I think those would be the most logical teams, because if you're picking at 4, you probably don't want to trade any later than that. I don't see the Falcons wanting to trade back later than 15. But I would think that those are the most likely trade destinations if the Falcons do indeed trade out of that 4th overall pick. Patrick, man, thank you very much. Latest center news for the Knicks. I haven't heard much, Patrick, about the center news for the Knicks. I think that, to be honest with you, Drummond obviously signed with the Lakers. And at this point in time for the Knicks, I think they're going to do what they did when Mitch initially went down. I think they're going to trust Noel to get the job done, give him added minutes, Taj Gibson, and I think they're going to try to get by with what they got. And hopefully if we make the playoffs by that point in time, you would think that, he'd probably be relatively healthy. So I think that's the thought process there with the New York Knicks. I don't expect them to go out there and make a big splash. Maybe they'll bring in, I think JaVale McGee was the name I heard. Maybe they'll bring in somebody like that, but I don't expect a big name to fill that center void. DeMarcus Cousins, that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting for sure, Joseph. Let the Giants ESPN hate fuel this monster team. Listen, man, they're going to say what they want to say. And, ESPN and the New York media is going to try to make people panic. And they're always going to have a negative viewpoint on the Giants, even when the Giants get good. I'm telling you right now, Ms. Rye, you know it. Even when the Giants get good, they're going to stir up negative news. And I understand it. The Giants deserve negative news right now. The Giants have not won they have not won a meaningful football game really since the last Super Bowl in 2012. That's the last time they won a playoff game. So I understand why the media bashes on the Giants. They're an easy target. It's almost like they bully them. They're an easy target. We know the Giants aren't great yet. We know we're rebuilding, and they know that negative attention is what sells stories out of the New York market. So expect more of it until such time the Giants start winning in games. And even when they start winning playoff games, expect to continue to see it. We saw it. We saw Eli Manning get killed his entire career. So I'm not surprised by it. I expect it to continue, to be completely honest with you, Ms. Rai. And it is what it is. I feed off of it. I love it. I love when the New York Giants get bashed. I don't care. I feed off of that as a fan. I think the Giants do too, historically. So let it continue, man. Let it continue. Let people continue to sleep on us. I'm all good with that, my man. Last year, you saw it over ESPN. You saw it over Fox Sports. Oh, the Giants are only going to win 2 games. Oh, the Giants are only going to win 3 games. They're going to go 2-14. They're going to go 3-13. And the negative fans that take the mainstream media as their main focus, all agreed with it. They said, oh, yeah, they're going to win 2 games, 3 games. They won 6, and they could have easily won 8. They could have easily won 9. And what some negative fans will point to will be, well, you face teams at the right time. But I could say, okay, well, if Daniel Jones even played an average game, we would have beat the Super Bowl champions. If Evan Engram held onto a football, we would have beat the Philadelphia Eagles. If the referees didn't call back 2 touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys, we would have beat the Cowboys. So sure, you could say we got a lucky bounce here to lose a game, and I could just as easily say we got an unlucky bounce to lose a game rather than win a game. I should have said on the last sentence. But my point is, you can look at things different ways, and the media is going to continue to try to bash the New York Giants. They're definitely an improved team. They're definitely a team that's improving their culture, and they're definitely a team that believes in their head coach, Joe Judge. And I believe in Joe Judge. I think the Giants are headed down the right path, and I love what I see right now. I think it was 25-23, Corey, if I'm not mistaken, but it was close. I think it was 2 points. But, yeah, because the 2-point conversion, I think, would have tied the game at the end when Daniel Jones made the bet. But regardless, it was under a field goal. It was a close game, and we could have easily won that game. Daniel Jones even plays average that game. We win that game. And Fortune Gamer, man, thank you very much. We 2012 off of hate. Yeah. I mean, listen, let them continue to bash us, man. I welcome it, man. I will. Oh, 25-23, yeah. And Jay Berman, thank you very much. Of the interior offensive lineman in this draft, who do you like? I mean, in the first round, it's Slater for me. And I know he's an exterior lineman, but he'd be an interior lineman for us. Vera-Tucker being the other. Those are the 2 guys I'd be helping. Darrisaw's another one that they potentially could take if, maybe it'd be a bit of a reach, some people think. But those are 3 linemen that they could take in the first. In the second, the one guy that I say all the time is Wyatt Davis. And if you're thinking center, Creed Humphrey is definitely a possibility, and as well as the guy from Alabama that we've talked to. So I think those are some of the names you're starting to see. But I expect an offensive line. Again, man, I wouldn't even be shocked if the Giants took 2 offensive linemen in the first 2 rounds. I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not telling you that I'm predicting that, but I wouldn't be shocked. It's definitely a need of this team, and they need to continue to address it. We had 3 rookies on the O-line last year. Yeah, we did. Yes, we did, Wampak Doodle. Rajiv, man, what's going on, man? He says, Tana, would it be feasible or a good idea to trade Engram and a second into the back end of the first? If you could move to like the 28th pick and give up, 42 and Evan Engram? Yeah. I would absolutely be open to doing something like that. I'm open to trading Evan Engram if the right deal is there. I personally don't see something like that happening. I don't see a team rushing to acquire Evan Engram and paying $6.5 million this year for a guy that's often injured, for a guy that's coming off a year in which he had 11 drops, for a guy that's a liability in terms of pass protection. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I know Giants fans want to trade Evan Engram at any cost. I don't think the right deal is going to be there. And I do believe that the Giants like him. I don't think they're rushing to get him out of here. I really don't. I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with that, but I don't expect Evan Engram to be traded this year unless the right deal presents itself. But I don't think the Giants are knocking down people's doors looking to trade Evan Engram. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. We'll see. Tana, I really like the Shelton fit. I love the Shelton fit, Gio. If they could get him, I love the Shelton fit. Corey, man, thank you very much. Stand up, new member. Welcome to the channel, my man. I love the Shelton fit. To be completely honest with you, Gio, I think he'd be a perfect fit. I think I'm not saying I expect as much production as we got out of Dalvin Tomlinson. I think Tomlinson was, a better all-around player, but if he's here to do one thing and one thing only and stuff to run, I think he's proven over the course of his career he's capable of doing that. And you get him for a very cheap deal. I think it just adds more versatility in terms of the ways that we could, structure our defensive line based on circumstance. So, yeah, I love bringing in a guy like that. It'll help in 3rd and short situations, 2nd and short situations, goal line situations. I love the fit. It's another nice pickup if we're able to get him. And Willy Bum Bum, thank you very much. Had a dream the New York Giants drafted Vera-Tucker. I wouldn't be surprised at all, Willy Bum Bum, if that's eventually what we decide to do. I wouldn't be shocked in the least if that's what the New York Giants ultimately end up doing if Slater's off the board. I'm not saying that I expect it again, but that pick, there's a lot of picks that would not surprise me. That's certainly one that would not surprise me at all. I know some Giants fans will be upset because they'll look at the mocks. And, here's the other thing I'll say, and it's why you can't go based off mocks, okay? Last year, where was Andrew Thomas mock, guys? I have some before the day of the draft, when reports started coming out that the Giants could, and the Dolphins may have interest in him and everything else. Like, at this point in time, where was Andrew Thomas being mocked? Where was Andrew Thomas being mocked by all these experts? Where do they have him going? I remember. Do you? Believe me, I remember. Chris, it was later than that. It was later than that. Andrew Thomas, I saw some mocks around this point in time after the combine. After the combine, and he had the 40 time, people were saying, oh, you know, he's the fourth out of all the tackles. They got him going in the 20s. I remember. So it's why you can't go by these mocks, man. And Willy Bum Bum, man, thank you very much. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the official sponsor of the channel, Faruqi and Faruqi. If you guys have injured yourself while watching the stream, watching some Giants games, check them out. Personal injury attorneys, proud sponsor of the channel. They've been in business for 25 years out of the metropolitan area, all 5 boroughs along with Long Island. That is why I was shot. Yeah, man. And Authentic says, love these midday shows during the week. Get the cook up beats and listen to Entertainah talk about the best franchise in football. Go check out Authentic and the Beard, by the way, man. What's going on, Authentic? And if you're trading up, you're taking Penny. So I agree with you. I agree with you. But the thing I'm going to say is I don't think the Giants will trade up unless it's reasonable. I don't expect the Giants to trade up into the top 5. I don't expect the Giants to trade up into the top 6. But much like Dallas did to us last year, because I honestly believe if he's there at 10, Dallas is going to take him. You remember Dallas jumped us, I think, in the 4th or 5th round last year to take that center. I could see a situation where if they don't got to pay above and beyond to move up and get Sewell, I'm talking about giving up future first-round picks, things like that. Say he falls to 8, say he falls to 9, and they're like, we think Dallas could take him. I could absolutely see the New York Giants making that move. I could see the Giants going from 11-8, 11-9 to get Penny Sewell, and then you have your 2 bookend tackles for the next 10 years. Then you won't hear me coming on here. Yeah, for everybody that gets annoyed about me talking about getting offensive linemen and hogs, you won't hear it. You won't hear it for another decade. You won't hear me saying, "Oh, we got to get a tackle in the front." No, nah, you got it. You got Penny Sewell, you got Andrew Thomas. You can get your interior offensive lineman, value picks later in the draft. If you have the ability to go up and get Sewell, and you don't got to give up an arm and a leg, I think the Giants will entertain it. If I had to guess, I still think he's going top 5. I don't want to get anybody excited. But based off some of the rumors that came out today, could he drop? It's possible. We've seen crazier things happen. Daniel, thank you very much. Someone will be there. Slater, Parsons, Pitts, or long shot Penny Sewell. Turn the last one standing into a Giant. Yeah, listen, I won't rule out Pitts. Again, I'm going to continue. Unless they trade Evan Engram, I'd be surprised if we drafted Pitts. But I won't rule it out. Like, you look at the tight end position for the Giants right now, and you may look at it and you might say, well, why would they ever draft Pitts? We've got Rudolph and we've got Evan Engram. Evan Ingram's going to be off this team after this year. And I'm not saying I want Pitts, but I could see reasoning behind it. Evan Ingram's going to be off the team after this year. And Kyle Rudolph is a 2-year contract where he's only getting paid $6 million, and he only carries, I think, a $2 million dead cap after this year. It's not like they have long-term commitments at that position. If the New York Giants feel like Kyle Pitts is a generational talent, the most popular word to use by draft experts, but if they feel that way and he is there at 11, it wouldn't shock me. I'm not predicting it, but it wouldn't shock me. Steve, man, thank you very much. Do a quick mock draft up to 11 now with rumors. Okay. All right, let's do that. I mean, I'm not going to pull up a mock draft board or anything else, but I will. And by the way, the other thing I want to say about Pitts, if he does somehow fall down in the draft and we pass on him, which I would guess we probably would, the Eagles are absolutely taking him at number 12. He fits the Sirianni offense perfectly. But all right, let's do a quick mock draft off the top of my head. First, you know where I'm going. We're going with the locks. We're going with Trevor Lawrence. Going with Wilson, number 2 to the Jets. I'm locked in on that. I'd be surprised if that does not happen. 3, I don't know. Because, I thought Trey Lance, and I'm a big fan of Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance has a lot of upside. I'm still leaning Trey Lance. But let's just have some fun and feed into these rumors today. They're going to Mac Jones's pro day. They're showing interest on the same day that Justin Fields is having a pro day. They're sending their coach and their GM to Mac Jones's pro day. Now, that doesn't mean they don't have interest in Trey Lance, but it would at least hint to me that they may prefer, or at least think they could prefer Mac Jones to Fields. So let's just play the game. And let's say that they take Mac Jones at 3. Fingers crossed. Let's say they do that. If they do that, I'm actually going to say when push comes to shove, I'm going to do a mock draft based on no trades. The Falcons, the more I think about it, I know I said a quarterback in my mock, they go Penny Sewell. If they don't trade out of that pick, I'm gonna have Penny Sewell going to the Falcons at 4. At 5, let's feed into the rumors again. Let's have some fun. Well, if Sewell's off the board, I'll do it. Jamar Chase goes to Cincinnati. At 6, I really believe in my heart that the Miami Dolphins, because they could have stayed at 12 if they want an offensive lineman. They could have said themselves, we got a shot at Slater. We got a shot at Elijah Vera-Tucker. They couldn't have thought that Penny Sewell would be there at 6. So in my heart, I truly believe that Miami traded up to get a weapon. They want to help out Tua as much as they can. So I'm not going to have them take it Slater there, especially with Sewell off the board. Miami, I'll say, goes Devontae Smith. It seems to be the wide receiver they've been linked to. So I'll say Devontae Smith goes there. I'm going to continue to say Jalen Waddle goes to the Lions. So I'll have those 3 there. 8, you still have a quarterback on the board. So I'm going to go Carolina takes a quarterback, whether that's Trey Lance, whether that's Justin Fields. We'll say Trey Lance. 9, if Mac Jones went 3rd, I'm going to do it. Denver's going to take the 5th quarterback in the draft. They're going to take Fields or Lance, whichever one is not taken. 10, I go Patrick Surtain to Dallas. And then with us up on the clock in that situation, the guys on the board are Rashawn Slater, Micah Parsons, and Kyle Pitts. Entertainah Soul Scott, man. Thank you very much. Trade Ingram for a bag of chips and Arizona. Denver will be Pitts. Well, let's say they take Pitts. They take Pitts, then you still got Rashawn Slater and Micah Parsons. I would hope they take Pitts, to be completely honest with you. I would hope they take Pitts because I prefer the other 2. What's up there, Lloyd, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Can we use Faruqi and Faruqi to sue the refs for robbery against the Cowgirls? The lighting got you looking like it. I get that all the time, Bavith. You said the lighting got you looking like Andrew Thomas. I get that all the time, my man. I get that all the time. Andrew Thomas, Jackie Chan. I tell you all the time, my man. But, yeah, we talked about the rumors. We'll see. I mean, I welcome Mac Jones because the more quarterbacks that go in the top 10, the better. So I welcome that. The Bengals would still slightly surprise me if they end up taking Jamar Chase at number 5 instead of Penny Sewell. I think they need to try to protect the quarterback. I still think they have pretty good weapons there. Yeah, could they use a boost? Absolutely. But I think they should go up. If I was a Bengals fan, I'd be hoping they take Penny Sewell. But maybe they will, maybe they won't. We'll see. But some of these rumors have definitely been very interesting today, to say the least. Good point, Mike. I didn't even think about that. Noah Fant, they drafted him in the first round 2 years ago. They're not taking him. I agree. If Pitts gets past 8, he'll be there for the Giants. If Pitts gets past 8, he'll be there for the Giants. I don't know if he will. You know, I've seen rumors that he could go to the Falcons. I've seen rumors he could go to I don't think he'd go to the Lions. They took TJ Hawkinson. He could go to Miami. Wouldn't shock me. He could definitely go to Miami. I would say the most likely landing spot for Pitts is Miami. Miami, Atlanta, and the Panthers if they don't love a quarterback. I would say those are his most likely landing spots. I'm not expecting him to be there when we pick, but if these rumors come true, it makes it much more likely. Deception, man, thank you very much. If I get injured on draft night for celebrating too hard, who should I call? Oh, they got all your draft needs, my man. They can't tell you who we're picking, but if you hurt yourself watching the draft, they got all your draft needs, my man. War Pig Williams, man, thank you very much. Giants should go offensive line in the first 2 rounds. End of story. Listen, War Pig, I'd be open to it. I'd be open to it. I've been watching this team now. Even the last Super Bowl, they didn't have a good offensive line. I say it all the time. It boggles my mind, Giants fans that hate taking offensive linemen. And I can understand if you feel I'm not telling you if you think Devontae Smith is this otherworldly wide receiver and that's who you want to take, but it boggles my mind. Giants fans who are upset that we take offensive linemen. Have you watched this team for the last decade? Have you watched this team with the weapons that we have had? Look at the weapons this team has had. We had Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham on the same team. We couldn't do anything on offense because we couldn't block. We brought in Brandon Marshall, Evan Ingram, Odell Beckham. We had all these weapons. If you can't block, it doesn't mean a thing. So it boggles my mind. Giants fans that get upset about trying to build up the offensive line. We've had the worst offensive line in football over the last decade. It's why Eli Manning crumbled the second half of his career. It was a disgrace what we did to him. And I'm not saying Jerry Reese didn't try. He did. He missed. But you need a good offensive line in this league. Last year's Super Bowl is a clear indicator of that. So I expect the New York Giants to try to continue to build up this offensive line. Chicago, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, why would Miami draft Pitts when they have Gesicki? I understand where you're coming from with that, but What I have heard is that they would be open to it. I was actually talking to a Dolphins YouTuber. Yeah, he's a solid tight end. There's no doubt about it. To me, he's not Noah Fant. He's not a first-round otherworldly talent. He's a solid tight end. But a lot of people also feel like he's capable of playing on the outside. He's a versatile. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Miami took him. But I've also heard rumors that they're interested in Devontae Smith. So I think Miami's taking Pitts or Smith, unless Jamar Chase is there. I think they're taking Pitts or Smith. I haven't heard much Waddle with Miami. So I'm leaning Pitts or Smith to Miami if at number 6. That's what I think is going to happen if Jamar Chase is off the board. And even if Chase is on the board, I could see them taking Smith. I've heard Smith to Miami a lot as a possibility. Probably mainly due to the fact that he has ties to Tua. But I'm leaning Pitts or Smith to Miami right now. Could Parrott play? I don't know, to be completely honest. I mean, Parrott's big. He's got long arms. You would think that would lend itself to tackle play. His arms are super long. I think he had the longest arms in the draft class last year for a tackle. So I don't know, man. I think they probably view him as a tackle. Julian, man, thank you very much. Take Ian Book, Notre Dame alumni, like yours truly. Julian Love, what's going on, my man? Well, if we take Ian Book, it'll be in like the 6th round. We ain't touching that guy. We already got our backup quarterback. You know, Giants fans have brought up the possibility to me of the New York Giants potentially taking a quarterback in this year's. The reason I don't think Detroit, they drafted T.J. Hawkinson, top 10 2 years ago at the tight end position, and he made a Pro Bowl this year, so he's been solid. So I don't think he'll go to Detroit. I could be wrong, but I don't think he'll go to Detroit. But yeah, as far as the quarterback thing, people have brought that up to me in the past. Should they draft a quarterback? No. I mean, this year, you got to find out whether or not Daniel Jones is your quarterback. And to do that, you got to help him out as much as you possibly can in this draft. Drafting a backup, to me, doesn't help him out. So I don't want to draft a backup quarterback. Personally, I think we signed a suitable backup. I think Glennon is a solid backup. I'm not saying he's a great backup, but I think he's an improvement over what we had with McCoy, who was decent. I think you got to find out whether or not Jones is your guy. And you got to let him go, my man. Got to give him that second year in the scheme. You got to improve the team around him. Patrick, man, thank you very much. When they reference past cowgirls of the 80s, what do they reference? The O-line. Listen, Patrick, I grew up watching those teams, okay? I grew up watching those teams, and maybe it's why I feel the way that I do, Patrick. And the Washington, well, they were called the Redskins back then. What were they built around? They were built around the offensive line. Aikman got all the credit. Smith got all the credit. Irvin got all the credit. And if it was a fantasy world back then, they'd get even more credit. But anybody with a brain that watched those teams knew what made that team go was the offensive line. Anybody with a brain knew that. And maybe that's why I feel the way that I do. But I say it all the time. Most important part of a football team. I'm not talking about a singular position. That's the quarterback. But in terms of a unit, it's the offensive line. Everything goes. The offensive line helps out your defense by helping you control the clock more. They help out the running game. They help out the receivers by giving them more time to run routes. They help out the quarterback by giving them more time to make throws. And the other thing I'll say about the offensive line and why I think it's even more important for the New York Giants, more so than a lot of other teams, and it's why I'm even more – I even more strongly believe that it's very possible we're taking an offensive lineman in the first round, definitely in the first 2. What scheme do we run? What scheme do we run? We run the Air Coryell scheme. Shelton signed? All right. 1 year, $2 million? All right. All right. Another nice signing by the New York Giants. Another nice signing by the New York Giants. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Nice little pickup. Nice little pickup. I'll make a video on that later today. Nice little pickup. I like it. I like it. All right, all right, all right. Chicago Giants fan says, my oddball pick for Miami would be Greg Rousseau. Wow. Hometown kid. The reason I don't think they take Rousseau, they have 2 first-round picks. So I think they could very well take an edge rusher with that second pick at 18. It's what I had them doing in my mock. I don't think they do it at 4. I think that they look at the edge rusher and they say we could get value at 18. Whether it's Rousseau, whether it's Pay, whether it's Olajari, I think that they'll wait till that 18th pick to take an edge. But, yeah, really good signing by the Giants. Really good signing by the Giants. I like that pickup by the Giants. It's a nice little move. I didn't see that coming. How many how many players? The Giants have picked up like 15 players in free agency that are going to fill some roles for this team. It's a nice little move, though. I like that pickup. Nice little move there. Nice little move there. I like it. A lot of people said we signed Danny Shelton. I mean, I'm not surprised. We got Danny Shelton, nose tackle. Former first-round pick, 12th overall by the Cleveland Browns in 2015. Played for the Patriots with Joe Judge in 2019. So, and last year he played for the Lions. So, obviously, well, no, he wasn't with the Patriots in 19. He was with the Lions already as the head coach. But, yeah, he's got ties to Judge. And Peter, man, thank you very much. News story claiming the Eagles traded down because they either wanted Wilson at 3 or Chase at 6, and they have inside info that Wilson will be gone at 2, and Chase is going 5 to Cincinnati. Burrow request. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit earlier. I didn't know about the first thing. Actually, I think I did. Now that you bring it up about them trying to trade up for the quarterback, but yeah, that came out today that they got word that Cincinnati will in fact. They at least have strong inclination that Cincinnati will be going with the wide receiver, Jamar Chase, at number 5, and that's who the Eagles wanted, so they decided to trade out of it. Now, the interesting thing about that, Pete, first off, that would lend you to believe it's possible Penei Sewell could drop if he gets past the Falcons, but I don't think to the Giants, though. I'm going to continue to say it. I think Dallas would take him at 10. But the interesting thing to that is that would lend you to believe that the Eagles aren't super high. If that's true, aren't super high on wide receivers outside of Chase. So does that mean if we even were to pass on Devontae Smith, would the Eagles take him? Because if they really like Devontae Smith a whole lot, they probably just stay at 6 and they take him. So that's interesting, but we'll see. And hey, man, thank you very much. I feel like John Mara gets far too little blame, while Dave Gettleman gets too much blame. Mara's comments every year put unreal. Listen, man, Mara did the same exact thing last year. And I agree with you. I think I am fed up, to be completely honest with you, with John Mara coming out. And you're an owner, okay? You're an owner. Be an owner. All right? And now if you want to come out with an end-of-year press conference talking about how the team performed and how you want them to improve, but I don't want to hear you talking about your expectations for the team this year. Be an owner. Let the guys that you paid do their job. Don't put more added pressure. That's what I say to Giants fans all the time. When they start talking about Daniel Jones and they start saying, oh, could he be the next Josh Allen? Could he be the MVP this year? I just want him to win games. I don't need to put added pressure on this guy. I don't need the owner breathing down everybody's neck. Let this team continue to build the right way and let us get to where we need to be. He did the same thing last year. I don't like it. I'm with you on that. And A-Train, thank you very much, man. They pass some pitch. You think Bad Dog will go nuts? I don't think he should. I don't think he should. There's bigger needs on this team. Will he go nuts if they take him? Yes. I would be surprised if he goes. As long as they have a reasonable pick, I see no reason to go nuts. But I still don't think Pitts will be there. Pete, man, thank you very much. Well, you can't trust the Eagles scouting receivers. Cough. Yeah, good point. Good point. Jalen Reagor, not the best of selections, Pete. Not the best of selections. And we'll see what the Eagles decide to do, but they'll probably end up taking Kyle Trask at 12. That's probably what they'll do. They'll probably take Kyle Trask at 12. Yeah, I heard about Danny Shelton, man. I heard about Danny Shelton. And I could see, Jake says, could you see Denver going O-line? I could. Their offensive line's abysmal. They could. They definitely could. Maybe they could take Slater. It's possible. But, yeah, I heard about Danny Shelton. I think it's a really good pickup. I'm going to do a more in-depth video probably after the live stream before the Knicks game tonight. But I like the Danny Shelton pickup. I think that's a really nice under-the-table move. I think it gives the New York Giants a different element to this defensive line, and it kind of fills the vacancy of Dalvin Tomlinson in terms of just being a run defender. Obviously, Dalvin Tomlinson was a better player, capable of doing more things, but I think it's a really nice pickup by the Giants. I think, and it's only a 1-year, $2 million contract. It's a good move. Fiery Earthquake, thank you very much. Did you meet Bad Dog through YouTube? Yes. When I first started YouTube, I didn't have that many subscribers. I was doing strictly videos. I didn't go live on YouTube till I had at least like 1,300, 1,400 subscribers. And a lot of my subscribers said, you got to go live, you got to go live, you got to go live. And then they asked me to check out Bad Dog. So I messaged Bad Dog. And yeah, that's how we started working together. Jay, man, thank you very much. I feel pretty confident Slater will be there at 11. I'm like 60-40. I'm not like super confident, but I think I'm leaning more that he will be than he won't be. I'd say like 60-40. that he'll be there, but I could absolutely see him being gone. It depends on how these teams evaluate him. I mean, you've seen some people say that they feel Slater's better than Sewell. So it depends on how the teams evaluate the players, but I definitely think it's a possibility. And Joey, man, thank you very much. What's your opinion on Evan Engram? My opinion on Evan Engram, I think that Evan Engram, all right, I'm not even going to joke. My honest opinion of Evan Engram, I feel like he could be a good player, but I don't think it'll happen with the New York Giants. Because at this point in time, my opinion of Evan Engram is this. I think everything with Evan Engram is here now. And he's got injury problems too. Let me add that on, by the way. He's got injury problems as well. We didn't see that this year. That was the major knock I had on him coming into this year. I was worried about his health. I think it's up here. I think it's mental because he gets open, but he just drops balls, and he drops balls at the most inopportune times. I think he chokes, and I think playing on New York, maybe that adds more to the pressure. I don't know. Not everybody could perform in New York. I think it's up here. Would I be shocked if we trade Evan Engram or if we let Evan Engram hit free agency and he signs on with, I don't know, the Green Bay Packers, just throw a name out there, whatever, that he could become a very good tight end in terms of a pass catcher? I wouldn't be shocked. I think he has talent. I think a lot of it is up here. That's my honest opinion of Evan Engram. And I don't think it's going to happen here. I hope I'm wrong. You know, Evan Engram seems like a great teammate. I don't think it's lack of effort. I hope I'm wrong. I want him to be great. He's a New York Giant, but I don't think it's going to happen, if I'm being completely honest with you. And Jason, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, I like the Shelton pickup. He is a cheaper player than Dalvin, but provides some of the same run stuff attributes. Now let's get Parsons' defense. It's a really nice pickup, you know, for a team that was really good against the run last year. I don't remember where we finished, but we were good against the run and really good against the run the year before. You want to maintain that. You want to be able to stuff the run up the middle, and you want to be able to now have strong corner play, which is going to allow you to send a lot of blitzes, get teams into second and longs, third and longs. I think it's a really nice pickup by the Giants. I think that's a move that may go overlooked because it's not like the sexiest of pickups. It's a nose tackle, but Dalvin Tomlinson's getting whatever he got, getting a lot of money, and they had a voidable year on it on top. You get this guy for 1 year, $2 million. I mean, it's a really nice stopgap interior defensive lineman. I like the move. And you never have to wonder, says, are you friends with Diggy? Yeah, I've had Diggy on the channel once, and I plan to have him on the channel again. I've just been so busy trying to grow my channel as much as I can. I go live a lot. But yeah, I'm probably going to have him on for one of my mock drafts on my channel. I think he's a really good guy. Yeah, I like Diggy a lot, actually. I think he's a really good guy. Pete, man, thank you very much. He says, what the hell is going on with Hernandez? He always graded okay, not great, not bad. When did he become garbage? Is he truly not? All right, here's what I'm going to say about Hernandez. He's never going to be what we hoped, probably. I hope I'm wrong. But I don't think he's ever going to be what we hoped. I don't expect him to be like an all-pro guard, nothing like that. Do I think he could be a good guard in the NFL? Yeah, I do. I think he could be a solid starting guard in the NFL. I think last year the virus played a factor. I think the virus did play a factor. People may not agree with that, whatever it may be. He came back. I think it's completely reasonable to think that he was still not himself, still tired coming off that virus. I've never had the virus, but some people tell me it takes 3 weeks, a month before you feel 100% yourself again. So do I think that played a factor? Yeah. He missed like 3 weeks, and then he came back in, and then they probably felt like he wasn't in football shape. But has he lived up to what I expected initially? No. Do I still think he'd be a solid guard? Yeah, I honestly believe that. I don't know if he's going to be in the long-term plans for the Giants, though. That we're going to have to wait and see on. But it's been unfortunate with him so far. Hasn't lived up to that draft pick. Marcus, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. If Penei Sewell drops past Cincinnati, would you be against trading up a few spots to draft him? If he like I said earlier, you probably weren't here, Marcus. If he gets to like the 8-9 range, I'd be open to it. If I don't got to give up future first-round picks, I'd be open to it. Because I do think Dallas would take him at 10 if he's there. So if he gets to that 8-9 range, I'd be open to it. But he'd have to drop to like 8 or 9. Techie, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. What if Slater, Pitts, Smith, Waddle, and Parsons is there? Who do you pick? If Slater, Pitts, Smith, Waddle, and Parsons are there, that means that these general managers are literally like snorting cocaine before the draft. Like they're high as kites. There's no way. So you're saying in this hypothetical scenario, the three of the top 4 pass catchers, the best linebacker and the second best offensive lineman get to us at 11? There's no chance. There's There's no chance. But I'm going to continue to say Slater or Waddle is Slater or Parsons rather is who I prefer right now with the state of the New York Giants after free agency. That's what I continue to prefer. Would I be upset with any of those wide receivers? No. Dylan, man, thank you very much. Knicks and Cousins talk. If that happens, I'll definitely make a video on that. That'd be a nice pickup for the Knicks. They definitely need some help at that center spot. It would be a nice pickup, man. So we'll see, man. Giants schedule. Yeah, let's talk about the Giants schedule, by the way. Yeah, I know about Danny. Danny Shelton is an interior defensive lineman. He's a nose tackle. I'll have a video up on him later. But the Giants, as you see in the title today, they brought him in for a visit. Now it's official. They signed him. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Maybe somebody in the chat can remind me. Because I saw the chat. I saw Danny Shelton. Possible? No. Quiddy Payne dropping a second round. No chance. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the schedule. Yeah, word came out today that that I think it's official or it's going to be official that there's going to be 17 games now this year. The Giants this year, unfortunately, will have 9 road games and 8 home games. Now, the good news is the following year we'll have 9 home games and 8 road games. But this year we're going to be playing Miami in Miami. From what I heard, I don't know if that's official yet, but if we have a 17-game schedule, that is going to be the team that we play. The reason being, I'm pretty sure what they did was they paired our division up with the AFC East, and where you finished in the division is where you play that team where they finished in the division. So last year, the New York Giants finished second in the East. The Dolphins finished second in the AFC East. So the Giants will be paired up with Miami, and we're going to be playing in South Beach. So if I do go to a road game this year, that'll probably be the one that I go to. But that's an interesting game. Good, interesting storyline. Obviously, both coaches, young, both have ties to Belichick. We got half of our staff from Miami. And I think both of them, I frequently compare us to Miami. I think we're both both on a similar trajectory. So I think that's an interesting game for the Giants, the 17th game added to the schedule. And MY Giants 26, man, thank you very much. He says, hey, Chris, sorry I'm late. Thoughts on the Giants signing Shelton? It's on Twitter. Yeah. I'll have a video up talking about it in further detail after the stream. But, I mean, yeah, my initial thought process is I think it's a good signing. I mean, do I think it's going to be a signing, that puts us over the top? No, but I think it's a good signing. I think it was a clear hole in this team going into the year. You wanted maybe a little bit more stability in terms of a run stuffer, former first-round pick, 12th overall. I like it. I think it's a good pickup for the Giants. Fills that vacancy that Dalvin Tomlinson left, at least in terms of being a run stuffer. Dalvin Tomlinson obviously had a more well-rounded game. This guy, pretty much strictly a run stuffer. He's 345 pounds. But, I like the pickup. I like the pickup. Whenever you can add more beef to that defensive line, I'm all about it. Now you got 2 huge hogs on that defensive line. So the Giants will be able to do a little bit more with that line. Obviously, we all know that they run different alignments, 3-4, 4-3. They'll be able to do different things and send in different packages. So I like it. I think it's a good pickup. And Stephen Lloyd, man, thank you very much. Oh, God, Chris going to Florida, budgie smugglers. If I go to a road game, like I said, if we were playing the Raiders on the road, that would have been an excuse to go to Vegas. Maybe I would have went to that. If I'm going to go to a road game this year, I think that'd be the one I'd pick. I think I'd go to South Beach, but I'm not saying I'm going. But if I am going to go to one, that'll probably be the one that I pick. What's up there, Nona, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Tashima says, yeah, that's that's a good point. It's America's graveyard. All the older New Yorkers, they go down there because of the taxes. So whenever the Mets play the Marlins, you see a ton of Met fans there. You'll have Giants fans there. Trust me, you'll have Giants fans there. Yeah, I know, amazing guys. Saw that earlier today. I'll probably, when I make a video, maybe I'll touch on that as well. But yeah, Joe Judge is at the Miami Pro Day today. Maybe I'll talk about the results from Greg Rousseau and Phillips. So Giants, it seems like the Giants are not being shy about looking at defensive prospects. They were at Micah Parsons Pro Day. Now they're at Miami. Obviously, the 2 standouts there would be Rousseau and Phillips. So they're doing their due diligence. They're checking these guys out. I'm sure Rousseau is going to be a guy that a lot of people have their eyes on. He was thought to be a top 5 prospect before this season took off, and he sat out a year. A guy that definitely has a high ceiling, but a lot of people have questions about him. So we'll see if that's ultimately the route that the Giants take. But yeah, we'll see how Rousseau does today. Chris L says everybody hating on Rousseau, but I would take him. Hey, we'll see. Well, I wouldn't be shocked if they take him. I wouldn't be shocked if they feel like with their coaching they could get him to hit his ceiling. Maybe they do go that route. I wouldn't be shocked. Not what I would do, but I wouldn't be shocked. Eric says, I'm not sold on Kwity Paye. It's plenty of gym rats in each and every pro day every year. Where's the production? Kwity Paye reminds me, I said it in my mock draft. Kwity Paye reminds me of Rashawn Gary, who ended up going to Green Bay. They went to the same school. They're guys that don't have the numbers that really pop out at the college level. Gary, I think, was actually the number one player in the country, if I remember correctly, when he was going into college out of high school. But they're kind of similar in the sense that they're a little versatile. You play them on the inside and out. I don't hate Kwity Paye. I actually think he fits what we would do, but I think we got that guy with Leonard Williams, so I don't see the need to draft him. But I do think he could be a good player. Chris, man, thank you very much. FedEx Field is like a home game for the Giants. I've been to FedEx Field. I've only been there once. I've never been there for a Giants game. I went there actually for a concert. But that's actually the only other football stadium I've ever been to. I've been to Giants Stadium and MetLife Stadium a bunch, but I've never, outside of FedEx, which I didn't even go to for a football game, I've never been to another football stadium. Yeah, Danny Shelton's 340 pounds, man. He's 340 pounds. I would be so pissed if we took him over Parsons or either Bama wide receiver. You would get a Daniel Jones reaction out of me. You love your Alabama. Listen, man, I'm a big Waddle fan too. You know that. And I was all aboard drafting Waddle. It was there before what we did in free agency. I was all aboard the Waddle train. I'm a big Waddle fan. I'm not going to be upset at all if we end up getting him. Amaya, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good to see you. She says, I love Slater at 11. If the Bengals or the Dolphins don't take Penei Sewell, then I think he falls to us. The bigger need is to give Barkley holes and exactly. Listen, as Giants fans, you know, and I think everybody pretty much agrees going into this offseason. And I think we did bulk up that defense a bit already in free agency by getting Adoree Jackson. I think that's going to open up the defense a lot. But I think pretty much everybody agreed going into the offseason that the Giants needed to really focus more so on the offense. I mean, we had the 31st ranked offense last year. Some of that had to do with, you know, getting accustomed to the new scheme, the pandemic, Saquon Barkley going down. We get it. But they did address some things with the offense. But the one thing they have not addressed, Amaya, this offseason, matter of fact, the offensive line has gotten worse. And I challenge anybody in this chat. I challenge anybody in this chat to tell me that the offensive line has gotten better. Now, you could argue that the younger players may progress, but they lost Kevin Zeitler. Kevin Zeitler was our most proven offensive lineman. So I challenge anybody to tell me that the offensive line has gotten better, because it hasn't. And we talk about helping out Daniel Jones. And when you talk about helping out Daniel Jones, I know everybody just, their attention goes to wide receiver. We spent a lot on wide receivers. We got wide receivers. And I'm not saying we can't draft another one. But our most immediate need right now, in my opinion, is an upgrade on the offensive line. So I'm with you, Maya, and I'd be very happy if we got Rashawn Slater. I'm with you on that. Thank you very much. And Joel, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. After this free agency, this is going to be Judge's draft that defines him and what direction he is taking the team. Future looks bright, John. Hey, Joel, we're definitely growing this team the right way, man. And I appreciate you being here, buddy. We're definitely growing this team the right way, and I'm glad that we finally have some direction. And Danny Dime, stand up, new member. Welcome to the channel. I believe in you. I'm putting my neck on the line for you this year, Danny. I'm not calling you Dime still. You're on that nickname, though. But I'm putting my neck on the line for you this year, Danny. I believe in you this year. I have not been very outspoken for you going into your first or second year in terms of being sold on you. I'm still not going to say I'm completely sold on you, but I believe you're going to have a good year this year. The one thing I worry about for you, Danny, we got to get that offensive line situated. But I think you're going to have a good year with the improved weapons and Saquon Barkley back. Stephen Lilly from across the pond, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, you went to FedEx for a concert. How was the Village People? No, I'm not that old. Well, actually, you're going to laugh at me, Lily. I shouldn't even say who I saw in concert because it is going to make me seem super old. I'll say it anyway. I saw Paul McCartney at FedEx Field, which was actually a really good concert. Peter, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think if Parrott can't play guard, we can't consider Penei Sewell because I think Parrott will be solid on the right side. It's Slater or Parsons for me at 11. I don't know, man. I think you got to. I think you got to consider. I think you have to. Penei Sewell to me is, you know, I said it earlier in the stream. You talk about generational players. To me, he's one of two generational players in this draft, or potential generational players, and that's Trevor Lawrence, and that's him. If he's there, I think you have to strongly consider it. I think you have to strongly consider it. No, I did not see Slipknot. And Card Coach says, went to Tampa to watch the G-Men when I lived in Miami. Ah, okay. Tana, I'm not sold yet that Thomas didn't belong in the 20s. More reason to take a hog. I think Thomas can be really good this year. But listen, I'm with you, man. I am all about continuing to bring in hogs until such time we get this offensive line matured and good. And, you know, like people say, oh, you drafted an offensive lineman last year in the 5th round. Yeah, when you draft an offensive lineman in the 5th round, he's not intended to be a starter. I mean, he could develop into one, but he's a depth guy that you hope could become a starter. So, hey, man, I'm with trying to improve this offensive line if it's appropriate. If we go in the 2nd round, I'm not going to be upset. Like, I recognize there's other needs on this team. Bill, man, thank you very much. I like Slater out of Northwestern. Help beef up the O-line. If he's there, can't go wrong with best available. They got to protect DJ. Yeah, listen, if the mission statement this offseason was to help DJ as much as you could, that's helping DJ as much as you could. You got to improve the offensive line. And especially in this system. And I think I was getting at it earlier. I don't know if I finished what I wanted to say. In Jason Garrett's offense, it takes more time than a lot of other offenses in the league. You have to be able to protect your quarterback. You have to let plays develop. We talk about wanting to take more shots down the field. If you can't hold blocks, you can't take shots down the field. It's that simple. You know, the last 5 years of Eli's career, people said, oh, he checks down too much. Well, a major reason why he checked down as much as he did is because he knew they couldn't hold blocks. So for everybody, you know, we brought in Kenny Golladay. Kenny Galladay's a 50-50 ball receiver. He's a guy that you want to take shots down the field. If you don't have the time to do it, you ain't going to be able to take the shots. So that's my line of thinking, at least. Stephen Lloyd, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hey, I went to see Brian Wilson Beach Boys at concert. Some people, if you have a chance to see them, you just have to see. It's that simple. I saw the Beach Boys once too, actually. When I was a kid, I was little, but my family took me to see them. I did see the Beach Boys when I was a kid. That's the one thing I like about our OC. He loves a big, yeah. Well, yeah, that's what Dallas routinely had there. They had a strong line, and they had 50-50 receivers, whether it was Miles Austin, whether it was Dez Bryant. You know, they had guys that could go up and catch the 50-50 ball when that offense was at their best. Would you take Slater and move him to guard? If we take Slater, I would expect him to play guard to start. That doesn't mean he's going to be guard for the rest of his career, but I expect him to play guard to start. And yeah, right now I want Parsons or Slater. Those are the two guys I'm looking at. And I wouldn't I'm not going to be upset if they take like 7 different guys. Like, there's a lot of guys where we're picking, and it's why I'm like not in love with even the thought process of trading up, because I think there's going to be so many players that'll be there when we pick that could help this football team, and I just don't see the need to give away future draft capital. The only scenario I would see is if Penei Sewell drops, and if Sewell gets to 8 or 9, and they feel like he's this unbelievable tackle, like a lot of people think. That's the only scenario I see where I would be inclined to at least open to the possibility of trading up, but I'm not rushing to trade up because I think there's so many good prospects that we could get at 11. The line they have right now came from the draft, so obviously it hasn't worked. Well, the line they have right now is young. Lines aren't built in a year. But yeah, Will Hernandez didn't work so far. I'm not going to lie to you. But lines aren't built in a year. They drafted 3 last year. It takes time. You know, you go back to that great Giants offensive line when they won their first Super Bowl. Anybody that watched those teams knows that offensive line was friggin' horrible. That offensive line was abysmal. Probably around 2005 is when they started to click, but it took years of having a really bad offensive line before they started to click and really get things going. It doesn't just happen overnight. And just because it didn't work doesn't mean you don't keep trying. You don't just ignore the position. You have to keep trying to address it. Brian, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thoughts on Saquon, best back in the league next year. If he's healthy and the offensive line is decent, which they were in terms of run blocking last year, the second half of the season, I think Saquon Barkley could have a mega year if he's healthy. Would you take, I like Ben Cleveland. Ben Cleveland is a nasty big fella. I like Ben Cleveland. Joe San Diego keeps saying this. I'm not taking a guard. And I'm going to continue to say Rashawn Slater's not a guard. He's a tackle that you'd play at guard. Potentially. You might play him at tackle. Marco, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. You don't keep using number one picks on the line either, Chris. Fair, but I could show you instances where people have done. And again, I'm not going to be upset if we take a wide receiver. I'm going to continue to say that. I'm not going to be upset if we take a wide receiver. I'm not going to be upset if we take a linebacker. I'm not going to be upset if we do a lot of things. But I can show you several instances where teams took a lot of first round. New Orleans Saints have the best offensive line in football. 4 of the last 6 drafts, they've taken a first-round offensive lineman. Dallas Cowboys, they took like 4 offensive linemen in the first round in 5 years. So there are instances where you do that, and the offensive line gels. No, I'll be the first to say I think coaching has a lot to do with it. Coaching has a lot to do with it. But we have to get the offensive line right. Otherwise, this investment in these weapons doesn't mean anything. You have to be able to block. Marco, man, thank you very much. Just greeting from Germany. Keep up the good work, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Saints took another offensive lineman last draft in the first round. And it's a big reason why Drew Brees was able to prolong his career as long as he did. Jared, man, thank you very much. We signed, yeah, I know. I'm going to talk about it in a bit in a separate video, but yeah, we've talked about it. Yeah, I know we signed Danny Shelton. I think it's a good pickup, guys. I think it's a good pickup. I think it's a good pickup. I think it was something that we were going to need to address in the draft had we not done that. I think we could have used another interior defensive lineman in the 3rd or 4th round. So that gives you freedom maybe to go wide receiver in the 3rd or 4th round or whatever, another need in the 3rd or 4th round. So I think it was a good pickup by the Giants. Zenith, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, what's good, Chris? Micah Parsons looking I like Micah Parsons. I'm not hiding that. I keep saying it. The 2 guys that I want the most are Slater and Parsons. I think Parsons is the type of player, if the character concerns aren't an issue for the Giants, and maybe they are, maybe they won't be, I think he's the type of player that can take this defense to the next level. So I'd be open to it. And Jay, man, thank you very much. Would you be opposed to a trade down in the 4th round? No. I mean, no. No. I am never opposed to trading down if the right deal is there. I am never opposed. You always listen. I am never opposed to trading down, whether it's the 1st round, the 2nd round, the 3rd round, the 4th. You always listen. But you're not going to get a crazy amount for a 4th round pick. Let's see. I've been saying since the Galladay signing, take Slater and draft Rondell Moore, Elijah Moore. Yeah, you could. That's the other thing. You know, I see a lot of people that say, and again, I'm not. Some people I think are just dead set one or the other. They say you have to take the lineman, and then there's people that say you have to take the weapon. And you know, and I'm leaning lineman, but I'm okay with a wide receiver as well. I'm open to both. I think the Giants go a lot of ways, but the one thing I constantly hear from people that say you have to take the weapon. And I'm like, why? You could take Slater. They say no, you have to take the weapon. They say you could get good value in the 2nd round on the offensive line. All I hear about this draft is how deep the wide receiver class is. That's all I hear is how deep the wide receiver class is. So I could just as easily say, well, yeah, you could get a good wide receiver in the 2nd round too. Like I feel like people don't acknowledge that. And David, man, thank you very much. Week 1, who would you like to play? The Bucs, Chargers, or Chiefs? Are those the only options? Because I'd like to play the Eagles and beat the crap out of them. But if those are the options, give me another shot at the Bucs. Give me another shot at the Bucs. I want to see if we can take them down. Give me another shot at the Bucs. Jason, man, thank you very much. Why not take Parsons or Rousseau in the 1st? Take Wyatt Davis or Trey Smith in the 2nd round. Plenty of guards after the 1st round. No to Slater. Hey, that's fair. You could think that. And if they go that route, that guard better be good. That's all I'm going to say. If the guard's good, I'm happy with it. That guard better be good. I think that Trey Smith makes a lot of sense. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a 7-round mock draft, and I'll probably do 2 different in the same video because I could probably do like a 10-minute of each of going offensive line in the 1st and then electing to go offensive line in the 2nd. One guy that I've definitely considered if they elect to go with a weapon in the 1st or if they elect to go with Parsons in the 1st, one guy that I've definitely considered is Trey Smith. Trey Smith has ties to the new Tennessee coach that we brought in, and it's a need of ours. So I could definitely see him being a 2nd-round option as well. Wyatt Davis also. Those are the 2 guys I probably have my eye on in terms of if we're going guard in the 2nd round. And independent, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Which players in the draft would the Giants have to take if they fell to them? If there are multiple, put it in order. Penei Sewell's number 1 for me. Penei Sewell's number 1 for me. Me, personally, if he fell to them. I'd probably put Chase too. Like I'm a big fan of Chase. I think Chase is the best receiver in this draft. I'd probably put Chase. Again, I don't think either one of those guys are going to be there. I'd probably put Penei Sewell 1, Ja'Marr Chase 2. And then, Parsons and Slater for me. And then I'd probably have Waddle and then Devontae Smith. That's probably my order. Pandemonium, thank you very much. Chris, we found a number 2 wide receiver in the 5th round. Let's go. That's the other thing that I just feel like, and I get it, because our wide receivers were so bad last year, and people want, even though we did address it, we did get a number 1 wide receiver. I did a video on this last year, and I'm not saying, once again, I want to continue to say, I am not saying I'm against taking a first-round wide receiver. The Giants are completely sold, and they think he's the next Marvin Harrison, like people have said, and he's there. I'm not against it. But I did a video on this last year. There is not a position historically over the last decade that you get more value from in the draft, including running back, than the wide receiver position. 67% of Pro Bowlers have gone in the 2nd round or later at that position over the last 10 years. So you get value at that position, especially in a draft like this, when it's a very deep wide receiver class. So for people that argue that you get value at the guard, I could just as easily argue that you could get value at the wide receiver. It's why I'm keeping my mind open, and I'm not just saying Devontae Smith. J-Man, thank you very much. I know that Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent, but we've heard of generational talents fail from bad teams. To me, whoever San Francisco gets will be I agree with that. Well, I'm not going to definitively say that, because maybe the Jaguars improve what they've done over the last 10 years in terms of building football teams. But what I will say, of the top 3 quarterbacks, I don't care what the order is, the guy that I think will have the best rookie season, I agree with you. I think it'll be the quarterback that goes to the San Francisco 49ers. I think a lot of fans don't ever take into account the I'm not saying no, I don't know. Some fans, I'm not going to say a lot. Some fans don't take into account the situation that the quarterback is going into. Kyle Shanahan might be the smartest offensive mind in all football in terms of a play caller, and they have a pretty well-rounded team. So I agree with you, Jay. Unless the Jaguars and the Jets dramatically improve its franchises in terms of the way that they build their teams, you look at the Jets, they failed Sam Darnold. I'm not taking away all the blame from Sam Darnold. He definitely deserves some of it, but they failed Sam Darnold. If they build their team the same way with Wilson that they did with Darnold, he's going to fail. The Jaguars have not proven to build teams properly in the past either. 49ers have a good team. So I agree with you. I think the quarterback that goes to the 49ers is definitely set up to be in the best situation of the 3. I love zombies, man. Thank you very much. What do you think about Danny Shelton? I think it's a really good pickup. I think it's Shanahan ain't smart. Shanahan ain't smart. Why? Because he did a poor job in the Super Bowl? Shanahan ain't smart. Really? Shanahan ain't smart. Shanahan brought Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl. He had the best pre-snap motion offense in football that year. Shanahan got Matt Ryan an MVP trophy. Shanahan left Matt Ryan. He looked like dog shit. Shanahan ain't smart. Really? But I love zombies, man. Thank you very much, man. I like Shelton. I think he's a really good fit. And I think he replaces a need that the New York Giants definitely have. I think we need a run stuffer in the interior part of that defensive line. I'll talk more about it in the video, like I've said, but I think it's a good pickup. And Deception Man, thank you very much. He says, I've seen Tucker projected as the best guard in the class. That's because they don't. Yes, because he's being projected as a guard. Rashawn Slater is not. Rashawn Slater is being projected as a tackle. And Angel Man, thank you very much. Look at wide receiver Tamorrion Terry. I've seen him. Most people have him going in like the 3rd round area. The thing with Tamorrion Terry, now that we got Kenny Golladay, the thing with Tamorrion Terry, I don't know if he's the type of wide receiver that we need. Because Galladay's kind of like that. He's that tall guy that could go up and get the 50-50. I think if we're going to get a receiver, I think you want to get more of a route runner type, a guy that creates a lot of separation. So as much as I liked him as a 3rd round prospect, being that we signed Golladay, if we're going to draft a receiver, I don't think he's necessarily the type of receiver that I'd look to draft. And Kylie, thank you very much. Best player available is what I'm going with, but prefer offensive line or Parsons, and can't wait for Bad Dog and your draft coverage. Always fun and fun. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, listen. Again, I'm not going to be upset if they go receiver. I'm not going to be upset if they go Parsons. I'm not going to be upset if they go offensive line. I just tell you guys what I would do. And if It's like a tie for me. It's like a tie for me. If between offensive line or Parsons, if he's there, that's where I would lean based off of what we did in free agency. But I'm not gonna be upset that I think the Giants have put themselves in a position where, as long as they address their biggest need, which in my opinion is offensive line in the second round, that yeah, I'd be okay with them doing something else in the first round. I'm not gonna cry if they go wide receiver in the first round. I like St. Brown as a second round prospect. I like St. Brown. Good wide receiver prospect. The thing I love about this offseason is how almost every prospect we brought in for a visit immediately knew this was the team for them. Most never even left New York. Love the new culture in New York. Yeah, well, Thor, I made a video on that yesterday, and, you know, you get some Giants fans, and I get it. You get some Giants fans that say, I'm not going to believe in this until they start winning. I completely understand it. You get some Giants fans that say they only came here for the money. I completely understand it. Kenny Golladay, absolutely. If we didn't give him that money, he's not coming here. I'll be the first to say it. Do I think – here's what I'm going to say. Do you think Nate Solder – and let's take into account how big of a pay cut Nate Solder took. Nate Solder was due $18 million next year, including the roster bonus. He's now going to get paid $4 million. He took less this year than he would have gotten paid had he gotten cut. Do you think Nate Solder does that if he doesn't believe in what Joe Judge is trying to build here? He could have easily just said, all right, cut me. I'm going to sign him with somebody else and get more money. I absolutely believe if Nate Solder forced the Giants to cut him and wasn't willing to restructure, he would have ended up with more money over the next 2 years than what he's going to end up with, being that he's staying with the New York Giants. Do you think he does that if he doesn't believe in what Joe Judge is trying to build here with the New York Giants? Do you think Kyle Rudolph talks to 13 other NFL teams that had interest in him and says to his wife, no, I'm going to the New York Giants after talking to Joe Judge? I think Joe Judge absolutely had an influence on some of the players that ended up here. Absolutely had an influence on some of the players that ended up here. Mike Francesa, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, Chris, just admit we should have taken a wide receiver at 4. Oh, no, I disagree with that. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Mike. I disagree. I disagree. But that's what's great about sports. We're open to disagreeing. Jerry Jeudy at 4? CeeDee Lamb at 4? Why? We couldn't block. What does it matter? I just disagree. I will always believe you build the offensive line before the wide receiver. And last year we addressed the offensive line. This year we addressed the wide receiver in free agency. We got Kenny Golladay. No, I disagree. I still, and maybe Andrew Thomas ultimately ends up not being the right offensive lineman. Hopefully that's not the case, and I think he will be a good offensive lineman. So, you know, maybe you go back in history and you say they should have drafted Mekhi Becton or they should have drafted Tristan Wirfs. But I absolutely think they needed to take an offensive tackle last year at number 4. I will never change my opinion on that. And Mike Bertessa, thank you very much. Get Jones Smith to Waddle and he throws 40 touchdowns. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. We got him Kenny Golladay. Listen, in terms of a weapons perspective, I don't want to hear any excuses for Daniel Jones this year, even if they don't draft the first-round wide receiver. You've got Saquon Barkley. If Saquon Barkley's healthy, you've got Saquon Barkley and you've got Kenny Golladay. And you got Kyle Rudolph, who's a good pass catcher and definitely helps in the red zone. I don't want to hear any excuses in terms of the weaponry. If there's going to be excuses for Daniel Jones this year, it's going to be because we can't block. I think there's a lot of good quarterbacks who have less than what Daniel Jones has right now if Barkley is healthy and they perform. So I don't want to hear that. I love zombies, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Do we go back O-line now? Do we go back O-line now? What do you mean? Do we draft an offensive lineman? Yeah, listen. We're taking an offensive lineman in one of the first 2 rounds. Seth, man, thank you very much. Chris, how does it go, my man? Can't wait to watch the game. The Giants team in the full. Go Giants! I can't wait, my man. Andrew, man, thank you very much. Do you know Trey Smith? Yeah, no, I was talking about him earlier. I was talking about him earlier. I think that I think that he could be the pick if he's there. He's got ties to the coaches that we brought in on this roster. Our one of the new coaches on our roster was his former head coach last year. So I definitely think he's a possibility if we don't take a lineman in the first. And Authentic says Slayton and Shep at 2 + 3, 2. Great. That's another thing. Great point, Authentic. That's another thing that people don't take into account. By getting Golladay, it's going to make them better. By getting Barkley back, it's going to make them better. Last year, you were asking those guys to do more than what they're capable of doing. Now you have a number one wide receiver. You have maybe the best playmaker in football at the running back position when he's healthy, coming back. Now you're not asking Shepard to do as much. Now Slayton's not going up against the number one corner. Slayton should be a better player. Maybe not statistically, because he may not get as many targets, but he should be more open because he's going up against worse cornerbacks than he was last year. Shepard should be a better player. Golladay will be a better player than what Slayton was, who was the number one. Barkley will be a better player than what Gallman was. So with all that together, the offense should be better. I'm fair. I think Jones is going to be a good quarterback this year. The only legitimate excuse for Jones this year, if he does not significantly improve, in my opinion, is not if we don't draft Devontae Smith. We have sufficient weapons now. If Barkley is healthy, we have sufficient weapons now. I don't want to hear the weapons excuse. I don't care if we don't draft Devontae Smith. The offensive line. And that's why I want to draft an offensive lineman. Mike, man, thank you very much. Slayton needs to be cut. He's not How is Slayton? Mike, this is the other thing I hear. Slayton is not an NFL wide receiver. I don't know where people get these opinions. Slayton caught 8 touchdowns his first year with the New York Giants. Slayton's not a 1, but I don't know, and it's not just you. A lot of people have said that, Mike. I don't know where people get this from. Slayton is definitely an NFL wide receiver. Slayton is definitely a solid wide receiver. He's not a 1. I don't expect him to be a 1. We were asking him to be more than what he was capable of being last year. Slayton has more touchdowns than Odell Beckham had with the Browns over the last 2 years combined in his rookie year. Slayton is definitely an NFL wide receiver. Slayton was guarded by number 1 corners last year. Give him the number 2 coverage with Golladay on the other side. He's going to be more efficient this year. He's definitely an NFL wide receiver. What's going on there, Danny Dimes, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. How would you feel about trading back in the first, Phillips or Rousseau falls after you take Slater at 11? How would I feel about trading back in the first if Phillips or Rousseau falls after you take Slater at 11? It depends how much I got to give up. Depends how much I got to give up. Again, it's much like what I said about Penny Sewell. They'd have to fall later than where I expect them to go. They'd have to be within reaching distance. If they fall to like 30, and I don't have to give up a ton, yeah, I'm open to that. I'm not jumping to 20. 20, you're giving up a ton to do that, to jump from 42 to 20. Harry, man, thank you very much. Hey, Chris, on my lunch break, DJ has no more excuses if everyone stays healthy. Parsons would be a beast. Remember, we passed on Simmons last year. I'm open to Parsons. You know, I'm not hiding that. The only thing I worry about with Parsons is the character issues. And I'm sure the New York Giants are going to do their due diligence on that. I still am leaning Parsons will not be there, but I'm completely opening drafting Parsons. I like Parsons a lot more than Simmons. I do. Simmons was a guy, and I'm not saying I wouldn't like Simmons. I definitely preferred the offensive lineman last year. I didn't hide that. But I like Parsons more than Simmons because Simmons, to me, was a guy who didn't have a position. He was a guy that you could play all over, but he wasn't a guy that had a defined position. I look at Parsons, and I see a guy that is capable of doing a lot of things, but he has a defined position. I could definitively say, yeah, this guy could play middle linebacker in the NFL, but he could also rush off the edge. He could do other things. I view him as a guy with a defined position. Simmons was a guy I looked at. He's capable of doing a lot of things, but I didn't really view him as a true linebacker. Michael, man, thank you very much. No disrespect, Knicks, your owner's a friggin' joke. You're preaching to the choir with Knicks fans there. You're preaching to the choir with Knicks fans there. So you're not going to get an argument out of me with that. How many wins are we looking at this season? I mean, I'm expecting 9 to 11. I'll say 9 or 10 wins. That's what I'm expecting. 9 or 10 wins. Nelson, man. Nelson. Your reaction to Mike Woodson heading to Indiana. Listen, I like Mike Woodson a lot as the head coach for the New York Knicks. And then obviously things fell apart because the Knicks took shortcuts. They brought in veterans, and the veterans fell off. Amari's knees blew out. But I thought he was a good coach for the Knicks. And one thing that he's not credited with enough, in my opinion, Mike Woodson. He was ahead of the curve in terms of the three-point frequency, in terms of fast-paced offense. He did what the Warriors do before the Warriors did it. Obviously, the Warriors do it to a much higher degree and much better than what the Knicks did. But you remember that Knicks team back in 2012, that Knicks team was setting records in terms of three-point frequency, in terms of 3 points made, until such time they kind of tailed off the last 15 games of the year. But I like Mike Woodson. I think he was a good coach, and I was happy when we hired him as an assistant Do I think it's make or break? No. But I think he'll do a good job with Indiana, so I wish him nothing but the best. Anthony, man, thank you very much. I honestly think Solder may surprise some people and even start on the right side, where he played very well early in his career. I don't know. I'm leaning no. I think he's going to be the swing tackle. I'm leaning no for Solder. I think he'll be the swing tackle for this team. I expect Parrott to probably be the starter. I'm leaning no. But you never know. I mean, if they feel Parrott's not ready, he definitely is capable of starting if he's in football shape on the right side. So I think it's a good I'm happy he's back for what he came back for. I'm happy he's back because even if he doesn't play, he provides very good veteran leadership. He's a former captain of the team, probably will be a captain again this year. And you got young linemen. You know, you got Parrott. You got Thomas. You have a guy that could help them out. And I think he is valuable to this team. Wasn't worth it for what we were going to have to pay him if he wasn't willing to come back on a significant discount. But being that he did, yeah, I'm glad that he's back. Ramon, man, thank you very much. Hopefully we fix that line for Dimes. That's been the problem for years. No quarterback could perform under constant pressure. I believe in Dimes. Listen, I'm preaching to Ramon. You're preaching to the choir. I mean, I said it long before it was on YouTube. I got into debates. Long before 2017. That offensive line was the major problem. It was not Eli Manning. It was the offensive line. Now, you could argue that Eli Manning's contract was part of the reason, but they couldn't draft well. They tried it. They couldn't get a good offensive lineman. You don't have a good offensive line. Your offense is not going to roll. So I'm with you on that. I think that is the primary problem at this point in time with the offense. Now that we've gone out there and gotten some weapons, we got to make sure we can block. And I think Authentic said he was leaving because I see Jameson says C, or maybe Jameson's leaving. Either way, Jameson or Authentic, who's ever leaving and who's ever staying, I hope you guys have a great day. Thor says, hey, Chris, I haven't been keeping up with a lot of the pro day stuff. Do you know if Joe Judge was in attendance for Northwestern? I missed that. I'm not sure on that. He's been in attendance for a couple. I don't know if he was at that one. Obviously, Slater. I'm not sure on that one. I missed that one, but I will look into it. I don't remember. Connor, thank you very much. What's up, Dana? Are you going live on draft? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All 3 days. All 3 days. And that week, I'll be going live midday. By the way, I was talking to a couple of people, and I'm thinking about doing this, like a New York show, obviously centered around the Giants, but you're not always going to have a ton of Giants talk, in the dead times. But I'm thinking about doing a midday show at least like twice a week, talking like, New York sports, obviously centered around the NFL when there's stuff to talk about. But I'm thinking about doing it, talk some baseball, talk some basketball as well. So I'm thinking about doing it in pretty near future. So with good graphics and editing and everything else. So I'm thinking about doing it. What's up there, Moose? Wanted to shout you out. One of my best supporters, man. Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Yeah, I mean, well, kind of like this, but yeah, obviously with topics and yeah, like twice a week, because you're not always gonna have stuff to talk about every day. And yeah, thank you for posting that note, man. I appreciate it. The official sponsor of the channel, Faruqi and Faruqi. There's the link provided right there. If you guys have hurt yourself watching the Giants over the last couple of years, they could definitely help you out. What's up there, JX? Thanks for popping in. Jay says, so glad the Knicks dodged Drummond. He's overrated. I would have been completely fine with getting Drummond if it was like a 1-year deal, but for what they were saying, it was like 4 years, $64 million. I didn't want to commit 4 years, $64 million to him. So for that price, I don't know what he signed with the Lakers. I didn't follow it once I heard that he signed with the Lakers. But maybe for the Knicks, they would have had to commit more, being that they weren't a win-now team. With the Lakers, he could chase a ring and then hit free agency next year. I didn't want to give him a 4-year, $64 million deal. Steve, man, thank you very much. Don't think about it. Just do it. You have European fans. I appreciate that, Mr. Lilly, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I'm going to do it. I want to update the mic quality and have nice graphics and stuff and have like a real show. So that's something that I think I'm going to do. And pretty soon, within a month for sure. Hey, Chris, would you rather draft Micah Parsons and Wyatt Davis or Slater and Jabril Cox? Probably Parsons and Davis. But it's very close because I like Wyatt Davis, but it's really close. Aidan, man, but I don't know if Wyatt Davis is going to be there. Aidan, man, thank you very much. Chris, if you did a midday stream, I'd be there 100%. I appreciate Aidan, man. Thank you. We'll probably talk some broad NFL as well once I do that show. Like have cool topics like top 10 quarterbacks, teams that improved in the draft, what each division looks like. I'll probably do things like that, different topics every day. But yeah, I want to do something like that. I know you guys enjoy the show, so obviously it's always going to be centered around the Giants when there's stuff to talk about with the Giants. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What's up there, Football Talk with Benny? Thanks for popping in. What's going on there, Kalen? ESPN finally said something correct about the Giants in saying no matter how many weapons they bring in for Jones, they will not succeed. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't agree with everything they said in that video, but I agreed with that portion of it. I agree. And I appreciate that 1K, man. Thank you. Anybody that maybe new, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell. I think he meant to say over 1,000 watched, only 431 likes. Spike that like, guys, and help out the channel. One of the best, if not the best shoots. I appreciate that, Joel. Joel's awesome, man. I try to give Joel credit all the time. I see Joel in every hub stream. He supports a lot of people on YouTube, so he's awesome, man. Chris, do we draft the center, or would you have faith in Nick Gates? You know, I would prefer to keep Gates at center. I would prefer to keep Gates at center because that's an underrated thing in terms of the familiarity between a quarterback and center. Jones just got familiar with Gates over the course of the last year, and I think Gates did a pretty good job. If you're in love with the center and he falls, you want to take him, have at it. I would prefer to keep Gates at center rather than move him to the guard. But that's one of the valuable things about Gates. He is versatile. You could move him around. So it depends on who's there. If they like Creed Humphrey and they draft him, I'll be with that. You can move Gates over to the guard spot, but in an ideal world, I'd prefer to keep him at the center spot and kind of address the guard. Let's see. Chris, did you hear that John Matt? Yeah, I did. Yeah, we talked about that at the top of the stream, man. Yeah, I mean, I already read it all for everybody at the top of the stream, but yeah, I did hear about it. And he basically said that he expects Daniel Jones to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback and that he could potentially duplicate what Eli Manning did. I mean, what do you expect him to say? I mean, he was the 6th overall pick. They invested a lot in him. You want to show confidence in your quarterback. It's what I would expect him to say. And, what I'll say is I agreed with a lot of what he said. I don't think he was too crazy. He didn't say that it was playoffs or bust this year and they're going to rip everything up. But what he did say, he needs to see improvement. And I agree with him. I think we need to see improvement. We need to see a competitive team this year. I'm expecting playoffs. Am I going to die if they win 9 games and miss the playoffs? No. But I need to see a more competitive team. I need to see a team that's continuing to grow. So I agree with a lot of the things that he said. And as far as Jones goes, yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of quarterbacks. If you provide them with the necessary pieces, whether it be on the offensive line, whether it be the weapons, whether they're having a strong defense on the other side, they could win in this league. And, we know better than anybody. I mean, listen, I love Eli. Eli's my favorite player of all time in any sport that I've ever watched. But we know better than anybody, if you provide a good quarterback with the necessary weapons, you can win Super Bowls. So, yeah, I'm not against anything of what the guy said. Tyler, man, thank you very much. Pitt, Slater, Darisaw in the first, Creed Humphrey in the second. You do that, man. That's hog heaven, my man. And Warpig, man, thank you very much. Who is our extra game opponent? It's the Dolphins. And thoughts on the wide receiver depth, like Mac maybe stepping up this year. The thing with Mac, Warpig, because I do expect the Giants to draft the receiver at some point in this draft. I don't know if it'll be early. I don't know if it'll be in the mid, 3rd round, 2nd round. I do expect them to draft the wide receiver at some point in this draft because you're potentially losing Shepard at the end of the year. So let's just say we draft the wide receiver. Whether it's 1st round, 3rd round, we add a wide receiver in the draft. You now have a drafted wide receiver. You now have Kenny Golladay. You now have Darius Slayton. You now have Sterling Shepard. The guy we brought over from the 49ers last year. I don't think he's going to have a role. We also brought back CJ Board for free agency purposes. Dante Pettis is the guy from the 49ers. I don't think he's going to have a role. And Bryce, man, thank you very much. Do you think the 17 games was for money because of course. Of course. Of course that's why they of course everything's about money. And it's a business. I get it. But the NFL likes to pretend they're like this. They care so much about the players. They don't care about the players. It's all about money. That these concussion protocols and everything else. If they really truly cared about the safety of the players, there wouldn't be Thursday night football. It's not natural to play a physical sport like football on Sunday and then have the guys go back out there on Thursday. Everything that the NFL does is about money. Period. Yes, absolutely. The reason that they added a 17th game was because of money. If they cared about concussions, they wouldn't be having these guys go out there and play another regular season game. It's all about money. And Brandon, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Do you think if DJ rode the bench behind Eli for a year or two, he would have been better accepted by the fan base and developed as a quarterback. Listen, man, I made a video on that year when they drafted Daniel Jones, and you had video makers coming out and saying it's time. Eli sucks. He's the problem. Get him out after week 2. Ultimately, that's what the Giants decided to do. Jones went out there. He had a really good game here against the Bucs. And then he fell off after, as you expect a rookie to do. He had struggled against good teams. But I was of the belief that year, and it's not because I mean, I do love Eli Manning, but I want to see the rookie quarterback eventually. But I was of the belief that year that the Giants, much like much like the Chiefs in a way, even though we weren't a win-now team, so I get trying to get him in there sooner than later. But the Chiefs drafted Mahomes. They sat him behind Alex Smith for a year. He learned. I thought the Giants, at least for 8 games that year, they should have let Daniel Jones sit on the bench. That's my honest belief. That's my honest opinion. That's what I would have done rather than rush him in there. The reason they rushed him in there, my honest opinion on that, Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur was trying to save his job. And the Giants got off to an 0-2 start. And Shurmur saw the writing on the wall. He saw how bad the defense was. And he said to himself, we're not winning this year. And if we don't win, I'm going to lose my job. So let me try to sell them on. Let me get Daniel Jones in there. And at least I could use that as an excuse for us losing football games. Let me get him in there. Let me try to develop him as a quarterback. And at least in the end of the year, I could save my job because I had a rookie quarterback in there. And I could say, well, listen, he developed over the course of the year. Let me keep my job. Ultimately, I think that's why they rushed Jones in. I thought it was too early. I thought he could have benefited a bit learning on the bench for another 6 to 7 weeks. That's what I would have done if I was the head coach of the New York Giants that year. In the end, is that going to cripple Daniel Jones' career? No. But I think that would have been the approach that I would have taken. I think he could have benefited more. We talked about him, his inability to read defenses in his rookie year. He may have been more advanced in that area had he sat and waited 8 or 9 weeks before we put him in. The other thing I'll say is the most ironic thing about that, I honestly think if Shurmur would have waited, and I'm glad this because I love Joe Judge, but if Shurmur would have waited till like week 10 to bring Jones in, Giants might have won an extra game or 2 just due to Eli Manning's experience, in my opinion. And Jones, had he played good those final 6 games, because if you remember, I know Jones had a really good game the last game of the year, but if Jones had a nice 6-game spurt there, being able to sit and learn, Shurmur might have kept his job. In the end, Shurmur might have lost his job because he rushed Jones in, and I think ultimately the reason he rushed him in was to save his job. So I do think that, in my personal belief, I do think that they rushed him in. Bryce, man, thank you very much. So no real questions. Is there an extra week, or is there no bye week, or even is there 3 I think there's, Bryce, I could be wrong on this. I think there's 2, maybe 3 preseason. I think there's 2. There could be 3, though. There's definitely less preseason games. Usually there's 4. And as far as there's not an extra bye. There's still only 1 bye. There's not an extra bye. But thank you very much, Bryce. I appreciate it. Anthony says, what scenarios trade package would you consider in moving back from 11 in the first? Obviously trying to land O-line help or a pass rusher. All right. Well, for me, for it to be a possibility, in my opinion, one of the top quarterback prospects still has to be there. That's what I continue to say, because I don't think we're going to get a package that warrants trading out of 11 unless there's a quarterback on the board that a team really likes. A team like the Patriots, a team like the Bears. So I think that has to take place first. One of the consensus top 4 quarterback prospects has to be there. And it could happen. We're hearing rumors about Mac Jones. So if Justin Fields is there and a team wants to trade up to get him, that opens up a possibility. For me to trade down, first, I don't want to trade down too far. Like the furthest I would go is like where the Bears are picking. And I would have to get a ton to drop down 10 spots. I would have to get a future first. I would maybe even have to get a third on top of it. Like the 21st pick, I think they're 21. Their next year's first and like a third round in this year's draft. I would need something like that to move down 10 spots. That's what I'd be asking for. I'm not trading down 10 spots unless I'm getting a first round pick on top. But thank you very much. Seth, man, thank you very much. Did you see the 17th game scheduled for the league? Yeah, it's Miami. It's Miami. And I think it's in Miami. Mike Fred says, man, thank you very much. Are you going to the strip clubs when they reopen? Oh, Mike. I'll tell you what, Mike. Mike, if you're gonna be there and I get to hang out with you, and what was the things that Francesa used to say when he was on the air that everybody used to okay. I can't. I'm trying. If you're drinking a Diet Coke, Mike, with me at the strip club, I might have to hang out with you, Mike. So if you're there, I'll be there. Michael, man, thank you very much. Sorry I'm late. What's up, Danny? What's going on, my man? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. Don't ever apologize for being late. I appreciate you for popping in at all, my man. Michael Davis. Love Michael Davis, man. Big Nick fan, big Giant fan. Says, I have a new nickname for Joe Judge. G.I. Joe. I like that. Some people have told me not your average Joe. That's pretty good, too. G.I. Joe. I like that. I like that. An American hero. I like that. Michael, man, thank you very much. Seth Looney says, I meant for every NFL team. Oh, the 17th game? Well, I don't know. Let me go back and read your question. Let me make sure I comprehend this properly. Because I want to make sure I don't get it wrong. Your initial question was, did you see the 17th? Yeah, Seth, all I can tell, I don't know every team who they're playing, but what I can tell you, Seth, is as far as our division goes, we're playing the AFC East. So the extra game will be the AFC East, and it'll be based upon where we finished in the standings. So we're playing Miami because we both finished second in our divisions. The first place finisher in the AFC East was the Bills, so they'll be playing Washington. The third place finisher was New England, so they'll be playing Dallas. And then the Jets will play the Eagles. So that I know. I don't know the rest of the league. Jonathan, man, thank you very much. I saw the reaction video with you and Bad Dog. My buddies and I were crying. What pick that could happen a la Jones would get? I'm going to be honest with you. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now, man, and that is not my proudest moment. I was not at – it was just my natural reaction. I was that much in shock that they did that, but I ain't reacting like that. I'm telling you right now, don't expect that this year. But in terms of – I honestly don't think there's going to be a pick that the Giants make that'll make me upset because I'm going in with an open mind. I'm going – and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I trust his coaching staff. And, you know, like, yeah, I'll be the first to say I'm not – Rousseau is not where I want to go. But if they do draft Rousseau, I'll say to myself, all right, I trust Patrick Graham, and I think Patrick Graham is the type of guy that can get the most out of a player with upside. So is it going to be what I'm in love with? No. You're not going to see me screaming in glee, in happiness. But am I going to flip out? No. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I trust his coaching staff a lot more than I did the previous coaching staff. And I think they could get a lot out of the talent that they draft. And I think we have a lot of needs. I'm not just focused on one specific area like I was in that draft. I was all about Josh Allen. I didn't think he'd be there, but I don't think I'll flip out in this draft. I think I'll be happier with certain players than others, but I don't think I'll flip out in this draft. Please don't break your headphones. It's the first video I ever saw you and led me to your channel. Yeah, I'm sure that happened to a lot of people. Sure, that happened with a lot of people. Gio says a quarterback is the only way. And yeah, they're not taking a quarterback. They're not taking a quarterback. Nikki says the reason I want Devontae or Jalen, besides the fact I bleed Crimson Tide red, is that Slater isn't worth that high of a pick. I would be fine with Parsons. Penei Sewell is the dream. It's not. No. Hey, if you don't like Slater, I understand. Listen, I'm open to everybody's opinions. I just value the offensive line more so than a lot of people. I fully admit that. I know that. Raphael, man, thank you very much. Can't wait till Thursday. Yeah, man. You and me both, man. Can't wait. Raphael, man, thank you very much. Opening day, New York Mets. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to try to do as many of those Mets streams as I can. Obviously, it coincides with the Knicks schedule, so I'm not going to be able to do every one of them, but I'm going to try to do at least 2 or 3 a week right now. So, yeah, I love doing the baseball streams. AB, man, thank you very much. What it do, Chris? Love the fact that we are open to pick the best player available at 11 or trade back if we get a good offer, but not too far back. Yeah, and we're in a good spot right now. We really are with what we did in free agency. It's kind of what Mara said. It's what Bad Dog and myself said leading up into free agency. If you're able to sign a guy like Galladay, it's going to give you the freedom to not be forced to take a receiver. If you sign Adoree Jackson on top of that, it really opens you up to take the best available player because, in my opinion, those were our 2 biggest needs going into free agency. And you know what Mara says, what the old adage is, I wasn't preaching offensive line before free agency in the first round. I was preaching wide receiver. But we got Ross, we got Galladay, we got Rudolph as a pass-catching option. It's why I'm very much open to going offensive line now after losing Zeitler. But, yeah, I think by doing what we did, it opens up all the possibilities for the New York Giants. And NYB, man, thank you very much for the $2 donation. My man, member of the channel, man, always in the streams, man. What's going on, my man? Got the Saquon jersey. You got to love that. You got to love that. What's going on, my man? And Kyle says, sup, Chris. Always enjoy your streams. IQ Elite one day or no? Emmanuel quickly. I think he will be with the kid who just got hurt. Can he win Rookie of the Year? I'd have to look at the stats before I could give you that answer, but I will give you the answer tonight on the next stream. I'll look into that in terms of whether he can win Rookie of the Year. In terms of him being elite, I mean, elite to me is prestigious. Like the definition of elite for you may be different than me. When I hear elite, I think top 5 player in the league. So I don't think he'll ever be that. Do I think he'd be a very good player? Yeah. I think he fits the modern day NBA very well. I think he's very smart. I think he's good at drawing fouls behind the 3-point line. His IQ, ironically enough, his initials is far advanced for a player at his age. And he's obviously a very good shooter. I think he'd be definitely a very good quality starter in the NBA, which you do not expect as far back as we drafted him. Darth Licker, man, thank you very much. What's our cap situation right now? We must make sure we are not heading into cap hell over the next 2. I don't think we will, Darth. I mean, right now it's all projections. You know, if you go on over the cap, I think they project a $203 million salary cap, but other people think it'll be 220, 209. So we don't know yet. But right now, I think last I looked, it might be less now. It was $16 million. But the guy we signed today was a 1-year deal. So that doesn't affect next year's cap. But what I don't expect the Giants to do next year is to go hog wild again. As long as they don't do that, I think we're fine. I don't think we're putting ourselves in cap hell. Most of these signings are short commitments that you can get out after 2 or 3 years. I don't think we're putting ourselves in cap hell. I think the Giants did what they needed to do. I think they needed to try to accelerate the process for the simple reason, like I always say, you got to take advantage of that rookie contract with a quarterback. And so that's why they did it. And I think it was the proper time to do it. But do I think the Giants are going to do this again next year? No. Do I think they're going to do it again the following year? Probably not, because they're going to have to resign some other players. You guys want to bring back Peppers, right? You guys want to bring back Dexter Lawrence, right? You guys might want to bring back Daniel Jones, right? You need to designate that money to bring those players back. So I don't expect the Giants to go crazy next free agency. And as long as they don't do that, I think we'll be fine. I don't think we'll put ourselves in cap hell. And Felipe, man, thank you very much for the $5 donation. I appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much for all the support. Let's see. Chris 3. Oh, man, Sox. You and me both, man. April 1st, dude. Can't wait. Mets are going to be on night game, actually, because of the well, I think it's because of the pitching matchup. DeGrom going up against Scherzer. Great pitching matchup. And Sox Arizona with the little fist. Boom. Thank you very much, my man. And my man, Rudy, he says, busy at work, but I've been here listening, brother. What's going on? Going to have a member stream, Rudy, by the way, and Sox. I got to talk to my sponsor because I want him to be on the show because he's going to be giving away the signed mini helmet. But I think this week I want to try, like 7 to 10 days, I'm going to try to have a member stream for you guys. Jay, man, thank you very much. Why was Twitter overreacting to Aldridge? He's old. He's a name. I mean, he's a name at this point. He's not that good. The guy averaged what, like 13 points. He's a solid addition for them. They needed depth on that team. It's a solid addition for them. But yeah, whatever. Twitter overreacts to everything. So I don't know why you're surprised. It's Money, man. Thank you very much, man. We're gonna go for like another half hour. We're gonna go to 4 because then I gotta make another Giants video. And then I'm going live for the Knicks tonight. So we'll go to 4. But I appreciate everybody for being here. Guys, thank you guys so much. Ask Money says, my beef with drafting Slater is that we drafted 3 linemen last year, and people praise get them. And at some point, we have to let these guys develop and build chemistry. Shepard and Slayton aren't reliable. Hey, I am open to your opinion, and I understand it. My mindset is, and I'm open to receiver. I'm open to both. I am definitely not going to cry if we draft a receiver, and I'm definitely not going to cry if we draft a lineman or Micah Parsons. But my thought process is we just spent $72 million on a wide receiver, and we just signed Ross, and we still have Shepard and Slayton, and we have Barkley, and we have Ingram, and we have Rudolph. What everybody always says is you use free agency to set yourself up for the draft. Well, if that's the case, what do we do in free agency? We went heavy with the weapons. We lost our most reliable offensive lineman, in my opinion, at least right now with Zeitler. So that's why I've started to turn myself to potentially drafting an offensive lineman. But that's just my opinion. And I'm also open to Parsons as well. But let's see what we got here. No one can get open. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm assuming, Royal, based off that you want to get a wide receiver that you feel is a good route runner. What I'm going to tell you is this. If we can't block, they ain't getting open anyway. If you can't hold blocks, those guys ain't getting open. And the scheme that we run, you need time to throw the football. We want to take shots down the field. To take shots down the field, you need to be able to block. What's going on there, Ethan? Love you, Dana. Been watching for a while. Repping New York from Texas. What's going on, Ethan, man? Thanks for popping in. I think we need to get DJ as good as an offensive lineman as possible. Slater or Vera-Tucker. I'm open. I'm definitely open to that, my man. I would love Lonzo. I think he's a good fit, Nick. Dr. Drake says Bama Pro Day tomorrow. Jalen Waddle. Oh God, I don't even want to. These Pro Day times have been so overblown. There is no way some of these guys are running what they're running. I can't even imagine the number that Waddle's going to run tomorrow. He might be sub 4.3. I can't even imagine. And then that's going to get pumped up. Simon, man, thank you very much. We also have Pettis and Ross. We have 0 guard depth. Yeah. We don't. Yeah, we don't. We have very little depth on the interior part of that offensive line. Kyle, man, thank you very much. We did sign some veterans. You could point to that, but to me, those are depth players. They're not starters. Kyle says, think I always say this, but I don't understand the Shep hate. I think someone should research the last time he dropped the ball. I have no hate at all towards Shep. At all. The only question I have with Shep is, can he stay on the field? I like Sills too, MYB. The only issue I have with Shep is, can he stay on the field? When he's on the field, the guy's a well-rounded wide receiver. You can play him on the inside. You can play him on the out. He's a really willing blocker. I like Shep. But can he stay on the field? That's my only question with him. And Kylie, stand up, new member. Welcome to the channel. Kylie's been with me forever. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's what. No, he has been around for a bit, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. But the only problem I have with Shep is his injury history. That's what I worry about. It's nothing else. Double stream. Yeah, that's right, TG Fishing. I'll be live for the next game as well. Would you be fine with Ben Cleveland? Well, not in the first round, but yeah, I like Ben. Yeah, if we don't draft an early offensive lineman, yes, absolutely, I'd be fine with Ben Cleveland. Hey, Chris, if Jamar Chase is somehow at 11, would you draft? Yes, I would. I'd probably draft Chase. I would draft Chase. I personally think Chase is the best wide receiver, and I think he's too good of a talent not to take there. I think I would take Chase if he was there. Yeah, no, Joseph, that's what I worry about. It's that. Bad Dog is going to get buzzed. We're both going to get buzzed on draft night. And MYB says, well, since I'm an OU football fan, I want to see Shep here until the end of time. Listen, man, if he can stay healthy, I think he's a good wide receiver. Mizrahi, man, thank you very much. Giving this fan base life juice, you're a GOAT. WFN soon, don't forget us. Big season's coming for Big Blue, man. I really appreciate it, man. Hey, man, I have a lot of fun with you guys. The one thing that I always credit you guys with, not everybody, some people are jerks, but the one thing that I credit all you guys with, you guys are not going to agree with everything that I say. It's impossible. I state my opinion. I give my reasoning for my opinion. And for the most part, you guys are respectful. And that's all I ask for. I try to be respectful of everybody's opinion. Sometimes I'll be passionate when I talk about what I talk about, but I appreciate it. One more month to the draft. Can't wait, my man. I'm going to have a more extensive video up on Shelton, but my short answer is I like it. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I think it's a smart signing by the Giants. That's my short answer. I'll go in more in depth. Probably around 5:36, I'll have a video up. But, yeah, I like the pickup. I think it's a good pickup for us. And Sacred Dust, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. He says, in your opinion, what's the worst reach we can make this year at number 11? What would you make you another I'm telling you, Sacred Dust, I am telling you right now, I'm not going to have a Daniel Jones freak out. I don't even think it's possible. But what do I think would be the worst thing for us to do? I mean, if we drafted like an interior defensive lineman in the first round, I'd be, especially after drafting signing Shelton, I'd be pretty pissed. If we drafted a quarterback, which is not going to happen, I'd be pissed. If we drafted an edge rusher who I felt like was an insane reach, I'd probably be a little bit pissed, but I would still be understanding of it. You're not getting a Daniel Jones flip out from me this year. I don't expect it. I just bought a Sterling Shepard signed helmet. Well, we know who you're rooting for, man. He says, people, we are too good now to have a Jones type reaction, and the coaching staff is 1,000 times better than the previous. Well, that's the thing, Jake. That's what I said earlier. It's like, even if we take a guy who I don't agree with, if we take Greg Rousseau, I'll at least have like confidence that I think this coaching staff could get the most out of him, where I didn't believe that before. So I don't think I'm flipping out. We're an improved team now, too. Do you believe Jabril Peppers is a must retain? I personally do not. Only he is an exciting player from all the Giants I've watched over the past couple of years. Seems like a real leader. I like Jabril Peppers. I want Jabril Peppers to stay. That is what, and a lot of people may not like to hear this either. I think much like the defensive tackle position this year, defensive line, I should say, coming into the year, I said you're going to have to choose between Leonard Williams and Dalvin Tomlinson. We may have to choose between cutting Logan Ryan and signing Jabril Peppers. We might. Logan Ryan, you save $7 million if you cut him. We're going to be strapped for cash anyway. I want to keep Jabril Peppers. I think Jabril Peppers fits this scheme perfectly. I think he's very versatile. I think you could play him up in the box. I think he's a leader of this team. He's a captain. He's a guy that people respect. I want to keep him here. I want to keep him here long term. I think he fits this defense very well. If they move on, I'll respect it. They drafted Xavier McKinney. They have Logan Ryan. They feel that money's better suited somewhere else. I'll respect it, but I want to keep Jabril Peppers. I like Jabril Peppers. I think he's one of the better. I think he's one of the more important players on this defense. And Kyle, man, thank you very much. Thoughts on McKinney so far? I mean, we haven't seen enough. We haven't seen enough to really have a definitive thought on him. But he played well against the Cowboys last game of the season. I do think he fits the scheme perfectly. And I think he could be really good. But, we still have questions with him, obviously. But I think he could be a really good football player. He's definitely not a foregone conclusion yet, though. But, yeah, I like the fit. Much like I said last year, I like the fit. Peppers is underrated and will only get better, especially this year. Yeah, but I like Peppers. I think most Giant fans like Peppers. I think most Giant fans want to see him stay here. I think he's a better safety than Landon Collins. I do. I think he's a better safety than Landon Collins. And but I do, you got to, but what I will say to you guys, because you guys this year, you guys didn't, you guys flipped that when it happened, but I'm going to continue to say it. It's business. And if we do keep Jabril Peppers, we're probably going to lose Logan Ryan. And you have to realize that. So I think there will be a choice at the end of the year. And if we do decide to keep Jabril Peppers, being that we'd save as much as we would with Ryan, being that they play the same position, you might lose Ryan. And maybe not. Maybe they structured a way to keep both. But you might lose Ryan. Carter and Zimenez in the Giants' long-term plans. I think I'm going to say no way of knowing yet. No way of knowing that yet. You got to see how Carter responds off the injury. Carter's going to be a free agent after this year too. We have a lot of pending free agents next year. We have a lot. The two interior defensive linemen are free agents, B.J. Hill and Austin Johnson. Obviously, Lorenzo Carter, Jabril Peppers, Saquon Barkley is going to be coming up on his rookie extension. Will Hernandez. We have a lot of pending free agents. We're not going to be able to keep all of them. Let's see. Chris, did you see what Belichick said about Shermer and McAdoo? I did not. I saw the article. I didn't get a chance to click on it. But I know he said something about that Joe Judge is better. But I didn't read the exact quotes. No, I did not. You rather have Barmore? Yeah, I like Barmore. I wouldn't want him at 11, but I like Barmore. Slater at 11, Leatherwood, or Hog Molly's double down, Mizrahi says. Peppers should have made the Pro Bowl, especially if someone like Ingram can. Yeah, I mean, listen, when Peppers, the one thing I'll say about Peppers last year, he started off bad. I remember like the first 2 or 3 games, I was like, I'm really disappointed in this guy. But once he progressed, the last half of the year, he was excellent. He was really good for the New York Giants last year. He was probably our 3rd or 4th best defensive player on our defense last year. Like, I'd have to say Leo and Bradbury are 1 and 2. He might have been 3rd. I mean, Martinez was very good too. He was up there. He was really good for us last year. Sugar Tots, what's going on, my man? 2016 was the only good season of Mac. Well, he was only here for 2 years. So, I mean, the thing with McAdoo, I'm going to say a couple things about McAdoo. One, the guy was a jerk. The guy didn't deal with the New York media well at all. The guy was a jerk. The other thing with McAdoo is I do think he was a victim of his own success in the way that the Giants outkicked the coverage his first year here. They were coming off a bad year, and it was because they spent like lunatics, but they won 11 games, and I think he was a victim of his own success. I think it raised the expectations maybe a little bit higher than they should have been going into the next year. We had Super Bowl expectations after we drafted Ingram and we signed Marshall. But ultimately what cost Ben McAdoo his job is he lost the team. As a head coach, that can't happen. You saw players literally quitting on the New York Giants. And then his handling of the Eli Manning situation was atrocious. So, you know, I think that's what ultimately cost him his job. I think his ego. Yeah, bad coach. That definitely won't happen with Judge next year. I think Judge will be here. Judge is going to be here for a while. Belichick said to Mara, and I quote, "The guy Judge is better than your last two coaches you had." I mean, that's clear as day. I mean, I think I could be a better coach than the last two coaches we had. They were bad. They were bad, man. What's going on there, Tommy Dixon, man? Thanks for popping the stream, my man. Thanks for answering my questions, Chris. And here is another one. Waddle, Smith, Vera-Tucker, and Kyle Pitts on the board. Who do you pick? Oh, man. If I could trade Evan Engram, and only if I could trade Evan Engram, I would take Pitts out of those four. Only if I could trade Evan Engram. I like Pitts. Only if I could trade Evan Engram. If I can't, I'm probably going with. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yuri, man, thank you very much. EDP was ranting about the Eagles trading down. Can't wait for the draft to see his reaction. Can't wait is right. But only if I traded Evan Engram. If I don't trade Evan Engram, I'm not taking Pitts. That is card coach. That is too harsh, man. You like Smith? I like Smith too. I've said that I like Waddle more, but I like Smith too. I think they're close. The thing I worry about with Waddle is the injury history. I agree with that. But I think Waddle. I personally think Waddle's a little bit better. But I like Smith too. I think Devontae Smith is going to be a really good receiver. Do the Giants get another defensive tackle after getting? They might. Not early, though. Maybe in the third or the fourth. I wouldn't be surprised because he's not a long-term answer. Shelton's here for a year. BJ Hill's here for a year, probably. Very good chance we can't re-sign him. Austin Johnson, very well maybe gone. So, yeah, I could see us definitely taking an interior defensive lineman at some point in the draft, but not in the first two rounds. The Giants clearly showed this offseason that they're going to be aggressive, guys. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to try to accelerate this process. And they got Shelton. Defensive tackle is not an immediate need for this team. So in the first two rounds, unlike last year, where I think they kind of drafted for the future as much as immediate need, a left tackle was definitely an immediate need. But and especially in the later rounds, they drafted for the future. I felt like they could have had more immediate need picks in the third and the fourth and the fifth round. I think this year they're going to be aggressive. They're going to try to get guys in here that they think can make an instant impact. So I don't expect to draft the interior defensive lineman early in the draft. Maybe later, but not early. Is it possible to get Rousseau in the second? No, I'm going to say no on that. No. Even if he dropped to the second, there's no way he's getting a 42. I'm going to say no on that. Waddle's a dog. I'm not worried about the injury with him. I like Waddle. I'm a big Waddle guy, so but I understand people that have concerns due to the injury. I'm doing the Knicks game tonight, Nelson. I don't know the next one I'm gonna miss, but I'm gonna do the Knicks game tonight. My prediction, I think the Knicks are gonna win. I'm playing the T-Wolves, right? We should win tonight. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with Randall. I don't know if he's playing or not. I haven't had a chance to look, but I think we should win tonight. We will go 9-7 this year. Well, it's 17 games, so it's 9-8 or 10-7. But I'm with you, Tommy. I got 9 or 10 wins. That's where I'm at. I got 9 or 10 wins. My man, we are getting another. Yeah, I think we'll win tonight. Oh, that's right. We're playing the Heat. We got the Timberwolves up next. I forgot about that. If Randall plays, I think we win. If Randall doesn't play, I think the Heat will win. The Heat are pretty good. Yeah, I think we could win, though, if Randall plays. Do you cut Jones if he has a bad year? No. No. I don't cut him. I try to trade him if I'm going to draft a quarterback. I don't cut him. No. Logan helped recruit. And here's the other thing I want to say that I thought ESPN brought up a good point about Daniel Jones. I think a lot of fans are going to go into this year and they're going to expect him to be, they expect, I'm going to be the first to say I need improvement. And I'm not using wide receivers as an excuse. But the one thing I want to say is, if you're going into the year with expectations of Josh Allen from last year, you're setting your quarterback up for failure. Josh Allen had a much better situation. People look at just the weapons and they'll say, oh, they're equal. Our offensive line sucked last year. The Bills had a very good offensive line. So if you're going into the season with expectations that he's going to be a top 5 quarterback, well, then just say that you want to get rid of Daniel Jones now. So I'm going to go in with realistic expectations. I need to see growth. I need to see improvement. I need to see a guy that can beat winning football teams. I need to see a guy that can make big plays down the stretch. But I'm not going into the year with top 5 expectations. I need to see growth, though. No doubt about it. And King Trizzy, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Sorry, Chris, but Heat win regardless of who plays. Hey, man, you guys have underperformed this year, but you guys have I think we played you guys twice. You beat us both times already this year. So you got a good chance to beat us. I ain't gonna lie. Everyone, please pray for health. You sent Authentic a sign. Wow, that's awesome, man. Chris, how can I learn the game of basketball? I'm still a novice. Just watch it, man. Just watch it. Just like anything else. Just watch it. You'll learn it. I mean, it's not that hard to. I mean, in terms of a zone defense, man-to-man, pick and roll stuff. But just watch the game. You'll learn as you watch it, man. What if Barkley gets hurt again? Well, we're in trouble in terms of this year's team. I say it all the time, man. People don't give the people that hate Saquon Barkley, and I understand not wanting to pay a running back top tier money. I get that. But the people that discount the impact that Saquon Barkley has on this team they're wrong. Daniel Jones has 23 touchdowns and 8 picks in the 10 games that Saquon Barkley started. Daniel Jones without Saquon Barkley statistically is like the worst quarterback in football. With him, he's an above average quarterback. Yeah. Saquon Barkley is very important to this team. If Saquon Barkley goes down, the New York Giants are in a lot of trouble. Just like last year. He's our most important player. If you take away the most important player from any team, they're going to struggle. Fiery Earthquake, man. Thank you very much. Graham Gano, 2021 MVP confirmed. Hopefully not. I hope he doesn't get a lot of field goal opportunities. I hope we score a lot of touchdowns. I'm doing a member stream in about a week. I got to talk to my sponsor, like I said earlier, but got to get a day that he's available. But I'm going to be doing a member stream in about a week. What's going on there? Strider X popping in. What's up there, Ali Khan? With what we're doing in free agency, what direction do you see the G-men going in the first 2 rounds? I can't tell you the first round. I can tell you one of 4 things, but I can't tell you definitively the first round. I could see them going wide receiver. I could see them going edge. I could see them going Micah Parsons in the middle. I could see them going offensive line. Not necessarily in that order. And the one thing here's what I'll say. I am pretty sure within the first 3 rounds, you will see 1 offensive lineman drafted and 1 edge rusher drafted. That I could confidently say. I can't confidently tell you what we're going to do in the first round. Within the first 3 rounds, I think you'll see 1 edge, and I think you'll see 1 offensive lineman. Tyler, man, thank you very much. Absolute dream scenario. Sign Trey Turner 1 year. Well, we're not signing Trey Turner now. I don't think. We already signed a guard. Pitt's at 11. Then if Darisaw is available at 25, trade Ingram plus a 4th and a 6th. You probably have to give up more than that. You'd probably have to give up your 2nd to move up to 25. And draft Darisaw and then Creed Humphrey in the 2nd round. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, Tyler, I'd be shocked if a team gives up the 25th pick and doesn't get a 2nd round pick in return. Because then basically, and I don't remember off the top of my head who's pick at 25, so I don't know what picks they have after that. But you're basically telling that team, we're going to take your 25th pick, and now you're not going to pick again until like 80. I don't see it. So that you're giving up a 2nd round pick if you're jumping at 25. H50, man, thank you very much. We are going 14-7 this year. You got us winning the Super Bowl? I got us winning the Super Bowl. I hope so. H50, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, I saw Danny Shelton. I'm gonna make a video on Danny Shelton when I get an opportunity after the stream, maybe around 6 o'clock. I want to go a little bit more into detail. But yeah, I like the pickup with Danny Shelton. I think it's a good pickup. Devontae Smith and Ben Cleveland first 2 rounds. I could see it. If they go wide receiver, they're taking an interior offensive lineman in the 2nd, I think. Big Daddy, what he says, 21-0. Well, Big Daddy, actually, I'm going to correct you there. If we go 17-0, the most games we'll be able to win is 20 because we'll get a 1st round bye. I would imagine. So 20-0, but I'll agree with you, 20-0. If there's no Oladipo, the Knicks could win. We'll see what we got going out there tonight, man. Where do Julian Love fit in this defense? On the bench. Sub packages, but on the bench. He's not going to start. I can't see him starting. Yeah. I mean, our corners right now, he's obviously not one of the top 2. Bradbury and Adoree Jackson. We're not paying Adoree Jackson $13 million not to start. And then at the safeties, we just paid Logan Ryan a boatload of money, Jabril Peppers, and obviously Xavier McKinney. I mean, maybe he starts the beginning of the year if they feel like McKinney's not ready. But, yeah, I think he's coming off the bench. But I think he's a valuable piece. He's a guy that can play in the slot. If Darnay Holmes gets hurt, he could play on the outside. You could play him at the safety, so you can move him around. So he's a very valuable depth player on this defense. Yeah, exactly. Authentic. He's a guy that he's going to get playing time. It's inevitable. Somebody's going to get hurt at some point, and he'll get playing time. He could play all over. Yeah, Tommy, it's 17 games. We're going to be playing the Dolphins. I don't know if it's confirmed, but something came out today that if it's not confirmed, it's going to be. We're going to be playing 17 games. Your thoughts on the Niners trading up for Mac Jones? I mean, we don't know if they're trading up for Mac Jones. That's the rumor that they could be interested in him. But, yeah, I'd be surprised. I'm surprised if that's the case. But, you know, one thing that I think is important when you're bringing in a quarterback, you have to be able to identify a quarterback that you feel fits what you're trying to do. And if the 49ers feel like Mac Jones fits what they're trying to do better than other options, okay. I mean, but I'd be surprised. I'm surprised if that rumor is true. I'm surprised. I don't think he has the upside of Justin Fields, of Trey Lance. So, but I'm happy. I mean, if they draft him, I'm happy because it ups the probability of 5 quarterbacks going in the top 10 picks. And I think it makes it a near certainty that 4 quarterbacks will go in the first 10 picks. John, man, thank you very much. I think Devontae Smith is a smokescreen. If the Broncos don't draft Parsons, I see us drafting him at 11 or trade back, and in the 2nd, Wyatt Davis, and in the 3rd, Eric Stokes. Maybe. But why would Devontae Smith be a smokescreen if you don't think we're going offensive line? Oh, you don't think we're taking Devontae Smith? Oh, so you think we're going Parsons or trading back if he's not there? Maybe. We'll see. What's up, Jameson, man? Thanks for popping in. Name a better secondary in the league. I mean, I'd have to look. I mean, I know the Bills have a good secondary. I know the Patriots have a good secondary. I know there's a couple of really good secondaries, but we're definitely up there. I'd have to look at other teams, but we're probably in the top 5 at least. I mean, our secondary is awesome right now. I'm worried we're going to reach for an edge. Yeah, Marcelo, if I have one worry, it's probably that. One realistic worry, it's probably that. But I'll trust the coaching staff to get the most out of them if that's what they elect to do. And yeah, hit the like button if you haven't done so. Hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell. I'm going to try to do more of these when I feel like there's an appropriate day and there's a lot to talk about. I know you guys like the midday streams, and I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to you guys. And I want to do this more often when I feel like it's appropriate. Come draft time, the week leading up, I'm sure there's going to be tons of rumors and stuff like that. Well, I'm sure I'll do this kind of like with free agency leading up to the draft, maybe the 3 or 4 days leading up to it. And in season, I'm going to be doing a ton of these, at least twice a week. So I appreciate everybody for being here. I will have a video up later today, like I said, on the acquisition that we made, probably in an hour and a half. And then I'll be live for the Knicks tonight as well. So busy day today, but I always enjoy it, man. And I appreciate everybody for all that the help that you guys give me on the channel, helping it to grow. You guys coming into the streams, you guys supporting the videos. Can't say thank you enough. Thank you guys for hanging around today. What's going on there, Cody, man? Thanks for popping in. Carlos, I can't wait for the draft either, man. Yeah, 1 month away from draft night, man. Can't wait. Cody says, what's going on, Tanner? What's going on, man? Kyle says, if we get Parsons, are we a top 5 defense? Yes. Yes. Yeah, we're going to do the draft, MYB. We're doing the draft. Derek, man, you have a great one. But yes, if we get Parsons, yes, I'd have expectations of us having a top 5 defense this year. With the addition of Adoree Jackson, yeah, I think we'd be a top 5 defense this year. Afghanistan, you have a great one, my man. But we are going to close it out. I am going to close it out. Not we. I am going to close it out, but you guys are going to close it out too. I'm going to get something to eat because I'm hungry, even though it's a little bit before dinner. And yeah, I'll try to have a video up by like no later than 6, talking about the new acquisition with Shelton. And then I'll be live tonight for the Knicks. Just want to say thank you to everybody. The draft is, I think, the 29th, April 29th, I want to say. But thank you to everybody for being here, man. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. You guys have a great rest of your day. Hopefully I see some of you guys back here tonight for the Knicks game. If not, of course, we'll be talking Giants soon. I had a lot of news today. I wanted to talk about it with you guys. Come on here. I know you guys love the midday streams. So you guys have a great day. And as always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.